Hello and welcome to Giant Bomb's Game of the Year festivities for 2016. I am Brad Shoemaker, joined by all of the Giant Bomb players. Jeff Gersman.
Hello.
Vinny Caravella.
I'm a player.
You are.
Love player.
You're my favorite player.
Oh, thanks.
Dan Reichert. Hello. Alex Navarro.
Brad.
Jason,
Hello.
Jason A. Stryker.
My players. How
Oh,
you
yeah?
doing?
All right.
Yeah.
Doing pretty good. And Drew Scanlon. Hi. Down at the far end of the table.
Yes.
He's got the most important role.
He does.
Because he has all the editing power
He
right
is,
now.
he is the true power behind
He
the
gets to
throne
actually
here.
choose who
Yeah.
wins. And
Yep. This
right.
is all ceremonial.
He's the
Drew's
deep
actually,
state of Giant Bomb.
Drew's actually pulling all the levers when all is said and done. But yeah, this is our now annual tradition of airing the dirty laundry as we hash out, argue, and fight about the best and worst games of the year
But now brought to you in
in living color.
Technicolor.
Yeah, in this nice.
The thing you always thought you wanted to see, but never really wanted to see.
Right. Every year we just like pull the curtain back a little more, and then eventually people will
Camera
figure it out.
next year it's camera below the table, so
boy.
people can see where
That's
the real action
That's
is.
where the real work is.
That's the
lights down
deepest
there, too.
state.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So yeah, as in years past, we have assembled a list of categories
Yeah.
that we will be rolling out all of this week.
A wide collection. We'll break down a handful of those categories every day, figure out who wins and who the runner-ups are. Kind of same rules as last year for the most part.
Yes, we will select. So we'll select one winner and two runners-up.
Yeah.
For each of these categories.
Except for our final list.
Yes.
Which we will have an ordered list of the top 40 games of the year.
10 video games.
10, 20.
40 games didn't come out this year. Come on.
All right, that's a fair point.
I think we might have 40 games on just one of these lists.
Yeah,
Subcategories.
It was a heck of a year
Yeah.
for games.
Yeah,
There were a lot of
let's celebrate
a
it.
lot of really damn good games came out this year.
Yeah, I think so too. I think I look at it as like maybe there aren't. I don't know how many games there are that I feel like a vicious burning fire for. Like,
Really?
but
Sure, I've got a few
But
of
there
those.
are way more games
Yes.
that I feel
Belong.
pretty strongly
Yes.
about.
Yeah, like belong
Yeah.
on it, like a
Yeah.
top
Totally.
10
Easy
for sure.
easy year to build a top 10.
Except for I think
I would
the
say.
order will get like hard.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
like,
sure.
Like because it's for me it's less about like what is number one, and for me it's more about like this game has to be on this list. This
What's
game
in
has
the
to be on
top
this list.
5,
Sure.
especially.
Yeah.
I think last year we had some pretty clear like top 3 going in. That
Yes.
we knew what,
I mean, we
they
went
were
into
gonna
that
be up
one
there.
absolutely knowing what number one was going to be.
of
At least I did.
Some of
I
us.
was
Some of
anything
us
way
did.
a little
Some of us
Yeah.
may
There
have.
was, it was a unanimous. There was
Absolutely.
no other way.
We all
that could
raised
have
our
gone.
hands.
Yeah, it was definitely Splatoon.
Well, that's all in the past.
What is
Let's,
that?
That was 2 years ago.
Splatoon's coming out on the Switch.
Let's look
that's
toward the
Splatoon's last year.
future.
Okay, yeah.
Well,
Splatoon
actually, no.
Game of the Year 2017, maybe.
Yeah.
You can say.
Before we look to the future,
right.
we do have to look back on the year that was. So yeah, I guess the only other bit of housekeeping is spoilers.
Of
course.
right.
Oh,
Yes.
Yeah.
We-
Oh, really?
we will-
I might step out. I didn't.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's your prerogative, but
Right.
yeah,
Hey,
like,
Jason,
we will.
the wife did it.
God damn it!
You get revenge on Land D.
Also, we're not considering early access
Yeah.
for
Yes,
these
these are-
categories except where noted.
Yes, typically these will be games that had a final retail release,
Yes.
or a final release
retail.
The closest thing we get to that these days.
Right. Whatever that means.
in calendar 2016.
This was the year that I think I waffled on that the most in terms of just like what is a video game release date. Sure.
Yes, I could understand that.
Will there be a accompanying warning before the spoilers?
Uh,
I think
there's a blanket warning.
yes,
and then-
this is the blanket warning. I mean, we'll do what we can where we can.
I think if we're
but,
going to get hyper specific, probably worth doing.
if there are any games that are near and dear to your heart that you haven't finished yet, be warned.
Go finish your video games.
and there are certain categories that lend themselves
Yes.
to that more than others.
You know, these
story.
these podcasts aren't going anywhere. You know, if you've got anything you desperately want to see for yourself before we talk about it, I encourage you to go do that and then revisit.
But we'll
these.
do our best.
But yeah.
We just can't talk about the games without talking about the details.
Yeah, this is the time of the year when we have to get to the nitty gritty. So with that said, here are the categories that we have lined up for day one of Game of the Year 2016. Start off with 2016's old Game of the Year. Then we will move on to Best Debut. Following that will be Hottest Mess.
Mm-hmm.
Some hot messes. And we will finish off day one with Best Style.
I like that category.
style.
Did I say that right?
It was close.
I think it's
You
more of like a
missed a couple Y's.
style.
Best Style.
Style.
L.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, yeah, category number 1 is 2016's Old Game of the Year, which is a weird-ass category.
Well, it originally was designed for us to talk about a game that came out in the year prior.
Yes.
And then at some point, we played a lot of Windjammers that year and felt that we needed to expand the category to include every year prior to this one.
So
instead of just 2015.
And hey, I think that was the right choice.
I think so too.
basically, this is a list of old games that had an impact on us this year.
Yeah.
Yes.
That we want to recognize. So the list that we currently have assembled. So, we put together fuzzy lists for all these categories ahead of time, but things may come up in the course of discussing them, so we can add stuff. And we will certainly be subtracting a lot of games to get down to our list of 3. But the list as it stands right now, people are typing in it as I'm talking. Super Mario Maker. Destiny?
Question mark? That's the official name of that game, right?
I put that question mark.
Oh.
Bruce Lee,
Hell of a game.
Trackmania 2 Stadium,
Wow.
The Last Guardian,
Wait, what?
It's very old.
It's the oldest game.
Final Fantasy 15,
The only game older than that.
All right, we can't. Those games have to go.
I know, but
Quake Live, The Witcher 3, Shenmue,
Yeah.
NES Classic Edition,
Hang on, we're putting good games on this list, right?
not yet.
Oh, no.
Good
We'll
old
get
games.
Final Fantasy 6.
Uh-huh.
I would back that. Assault Suit Lanos, Res Infinite, Star Trek Online,
Just cut that now.
Rise of the Tomb Raider, Jazz Punk Director's Cut, Dracula X Rondo of Blood,
It's a good one.
God Eater Resurrection,
Wonder who put that on there.
I don't know.
I did.
That's me.
Just
Yeah.
felt pretty strongly
you did
about
too?
it. Yeah.
Okay.
and Nidhogg.
That's a great game.
Oh, yeah.
It is a great game.
Nidhogg is a good game.
All right, so we can take Final Fantasy and Last Guardian off of this. That was a bit.
That was a goof.
That was a little,
Those are our
little
joke.
joke for all y'all out there.
All right, I'll take those off here.
Those are in fact old games though.
They are very
Yeah.
old.
And Assault Suit Lanos actually was technically released this year, and it's a reboot, so it's or a remake.
Oh,
so
damn
that's
it.
probably not.
All right.
That's not really in the spirit of
Yeah,
what we're doing here.
I should probably get rid of God Eater Resurrection then. It is an old game,
Yeah.
but yeah, it was re-released this
Yeah,
year.
okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Sorry, God
well,
Eater.
crap. I mean, I guess that probably if that's
That probably cuts Jazz Punk then, since that's a director's cut.
If that's our filter, then I guess Res Infinite has to go as well.
I think so too. Yeah.
oh, Res Infinite's good.
It is.
Resident Infinite's in a weird category, in a weird spot where it is kind of an old game, but a new re-release. They've kind of given it new life, and I think we're going to consider it for these awards.
Yeah, I think when you add new content,
I think
to
it's got a new name. It's got new content.
New level, a new way to
Yeah.
play.
It was like the VR stuff is a
Yeah,
big
yeah.
deal. It was like all the stuff was reauthored. To
I mean, hey, that's fine.
Good in HD.
I love Res.
like if we
so-
weren't doing that, I don't say Rez was near lock to be in the top 3 for this, but I think it's probably the right thing to cut it off.
Yeah, I don't think it belongs
fine.
here.
Jeff, how much Mario Maker did you play this year?
Quite a lot.
You did?
Yeah.
Okay. I think I kind of fell off because I think I ended the whole thing with Patrick like late last year, like around New Year's.
Okay.
And I didn't really do a whole lot past that.
No, I definitely did more playing than making this year,
Okay.
but I played that game like 2 weeks ago.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, like I took a break for a pretty long time and then turned it back on 2 weeks ago. Played all the event courses I hadn't finished because they added a ton of them.
Really?
There's like 160 costumes in that game now. And then I kind of looked at it and went like, man, I should make another level. Went back and played some of the ones that I had made before to remember the tricks that I'd put into them and yeah, I put significant time into that.
Okay. I keep thinking about it. I keep wanting to,
Yeah.
but I never actually pull it out.
I just thought of something maybe we should put back on here.
right.
Is Rocket League, because that is a game that has been well supported throughout this year. They keep adding content to it.
I guess I can see that.
But this
I
is
don't- I
our
don't-
list. Did a lot of us
Yeah,
play it this
I-
year?
I didn't play a lot of it this year, but I have gone back to it from
don't
time to
think I-
time, and I still love it.
I don't think I played any Rocket League in 2016.
I didn't
think I
play a
did
ton.
I didn't
Also,
play any Mario Maker.
Yeah,
I
for sure.
certainly
Yeah.
didn't. I would say most of the additions I've seen to Rocket League have not really been what I like about Rocket League.
I mean, they're not exactly.
a lot of like the basketball mode and stuff.
Yeah.
It's just not. That's not what the core of that game is for me.
No,
That's
it's
true,
not.
But some of the modes that they have added, and especially the maps, have
Yes, the maps have been good.
drastically changed.
It is awesome that they have been pumping so much free content into that thing.
Yeah,
I'll say
totally.
that.
It's weird because like the stuff they did to Rocket League is the stuff I kind of thought at launch was the stuff I wanted them to do to Rocket League, but like all of it just seems so unappealing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Also, I just don't think I like Rocket League. So
That's
there's
fair.
that too.
I don't
But-
like you.
I would just like to leave it on there for now.
We
At
probably
least.
put the most time into Shenmue on this list, right?
Yeah, the key thing though is
because
No,
now
I
you
know.
you
If
know
we-
the depths of this.
Yeah.
now.
If we're going
I
by
think I
most,
love it more now.
if we're going by most time, I'll add this Sonic Racing.
You're playing a lot of that.
Formed. I think I have about 140 hours in that.
Wow.
And that's a hell of a game.
That game's legit. I like that an awful lot.
I don't think we've
It's a pretty
Racing in
good
there
car
is
racer.
very-
It's not bad.
very good.
Yeah.
Vinny, the problem is we haven't granted your son voting rights in this yet.
That's
so
right. So I get 2 voting
Okay.
rights.
And Skype him in.
So yeah, if we're going by time played, I'm willing to cut Shenmue and Sonic Racing.
You want to cut Shenmue?
yes,
Really?
yes,
I mean,
Really?
yes.
I had a good time watching you play Shenmue.
okay.
But did you have a good time because Shenmue was a good game, or did you just because it was torturing
I don't-
Vinny?
I don't think that matters.
I have fond memories of Shenmue, and it was fun to return to them.
Yeah, I had a good
Yeah,
time
I think
with you guys.
all that matters is how much fun you had. Like, it doesn't have to be.
Like I would
the best
sooner
game
put the
ever.
two of you in this category than I would put the game Shenmue.
I wouldn't go that far. I mean, I remember that time where we had to put the controller down for 30 minutes and I
play
grabbed
songs?
a guitar and we just had to play songs. I mean,
Yeah, that was a good time. That's a good game. That's a good old game. Guitars are old.
Guitars are old.
Yeah.
Was it an old guitar?
No.
Well, then what are we even
It was
talking
probably
about?
2014 or 15.
Okay,
That's
but
still
not this year.
enough.
That's
yeah,
this
I'd
year.
say as long as the
All right,
guitar did not come out
qualifies.
this year.
All right, well, let's
Let's keep Shenmue for now.
That's a terrible idea.
I'll
but
grant
all right,
it.
let's
Okay, thank you, Alex.
let's cut Star Trek Online. That
Yeah.
game came out on consoles this year, and that's a bad version of that game.
Yeah.
Okay.
None of my Lifetime stuff works on the console version.
That's
so,
terrible.
Like it's all
Say it for the record.
It's all start from scratch.
It's
like
awful that you have to buy.
there's something to be
all that
said
stuff
for
again.
like. Well, I didn't have to buy.
Well, you're
shit.
not that
I'm
you're
not buying
going to,
nothing.
but I mean that none of your stuff from the PC carries over.
Yeah.
Is a giant bummer.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna remove Destiny.
Okay.
Really?
That
I
new
think-
expansion was not
yeah,
as
I
good
think
as the
this
previous.
was kind of a rough year for Destiny.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, last year's expansion was better.
All right.
What's the argument for Nidhogg? Did any of us play a lot of it this year?
I went back to it just a
Yeah.
bunch.
Okay.
It's the game that I liked playing with like you, Alex, and like Austin and stuff like that. But if nobody else played it, it's the one that I think held
much.
up out of those local co-op games from like the last 2 or 3
Yeah,
years. that
right,
I
right.
really
That's definitely
liked.
I'm
one
with
of the
you.
things.
I
Tower
would,
Falls
I
and
would
all
play
that.
some damn Nidhogg just
Yeah,
about any
like,
time.
as soon as you wrote that on that list, I was like, man, we should play some fucking Nidhogg. What are we doing?
Yeah, I mean, it's so simple and so good.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's saying a lot considering just how many games
Yep.
Yeah.
came out from that era.
Yep.
Oh, you
And,
mean
like, that
you mean- You mean
genre,
like
yeah.
couch,
That
couch
genre.
co-op games?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Tower Falls and
Yeah.
all that
Or
stuff.
couch multiplayer. Yeah.
That stuff's still happening. There's
Yep,
that,
it
there's
is.
that weird dick game. It's an early access. That'll have to
Genital
come out
jousting.
sometime next
Yes.
year.
I say we should remove the NES Classic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to
Because
play it.
no one actually owns that thing.
Yeah,
We checked it out for
Nobody,
video.
Nobody,
Yeah,
nobody can find it, and also the chords are just insane.
There are
There's-
workarounds
There are
for
some
it.
bad things about that thing.
And the more time I spent with it while we were recording that video, or since then, it has been sitting in my bag. I have not plugged it in to play any of those games. This one, two. I get more and more disappointed with the 30 games they chose for that thing as time goes on.
I thought most of those choices were solid.
Yeah, I thought most of them were.
Yeah,
seemed
Simon's Quest.
I said most.
Hey, listen.
You got 30 slots. You're gonna put Simon's fucking Quest on that
And
thing.
Ice Climbers.
I'm trying. There's a
Like-
worse Castlevania game.
You could have got another Konami game. You could have put Jackal on there.
What's the worst Castlevania
yeah.
game? You talking about the 3D ones? The PS2 ones?
Well, no, we're just talking about the old
ones we
Castlevania
played.
ones.
Oh, what's the worst one?
Maybe you'll
It
have
might
to wait.
It might be Simon's Quest.
So how many games on there that are not available, like via virtual console or something like that?
Almost
I don't
none.
actually
I
know,
think.
yeah.
I think they're all available at least
most of
somewhere.
them are. Oh, yeah.
A lot of them are.
If not Wii U, then 3DS.
I don't, can you get Excitebike on like?
Yeah,
I think so.
they did a
Virtual
3D
console,
Classics re-release of Excitebike.
Yep.
That's actually.
Oh,
neat.
yeah, I think that thing can go.
I mean, do we factor in impact? Because that thing made a huge impact. That was one of
Who-
those
I mean, in
mainstream
terms of
ones.
what? Like, not it got people angry and
Yeah.
sat in my bag unused.
But I
like,
mean-
that's not impact.
People who want it are mad they can't find it, and
But people who don't really they don't play a lot of games or whatever, they have heard of the NES.
I don't think
Classic.
that
these
holds
count?
any
Okay.
weight.
these
here.
are not
Yeah.
those people's awards.
Yeah.
Okay,
they're
fair enough,
our
fair enough.
awards.
but also,
so-
I'd say the story was that nobody can find it,
Yeah.
and that,
Right.
that made it more desirable.
Yeah, it's almost more of a story about how to market and launch a thing, the
Right.
the positives and negatives of making
Yeah.
a desirable Christmas sale
Like,
making
I-
a Tickle Me Elmo.
I'm afraid to come out and say artificial scarcity because we don't know for a fact, but it sure looks an awful lot.
Nothing in that
Sure
thing
seems
looks
like
hard to make.
Yeah, it sure looks an
not.
awful lot like Nintendo decided to underproduce that thing.
Well, if you think about it, like they have a tight first week, right? Mm-hmm. Like in theory, this is probably how it should have gone. They have a really tight first week or two to get all the stories out there about how it's the hottest item for the holidays.
and it made the local news. It was all over the place.
And then like this week or next, like the week we're recording these, you would think they would just dump them on the market so that everyone has heard that it's hot, thinks it's rare, and sees one and goes, "Oh shit!" and
found
buys
one.
4 of them.
Yeah. But instead, you're seeing like even today, you're seeing headlines like, "Oh, this GameStop is getting 2 in today."
Yeah, so they have.
it's just
So,
like,
and
how
I
is this
wonder
happening?
if the other shoe drops and suddenly that thing is incredibly easy to find, and miraculously it's a Christmas miracle,
Like a week before.
Yeah,
No.
And it comes with a Cabbage Patch Kid and a Tickle Me Elmo.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So that would be the right way to do this. If they don't do that, then it's hard to imagine this being artificial scarcity because
because there's
didn't have a
leaving
backup
because
plan.
they're just fucking up.
They're just
at that
leaving
point.
money on the table at that point.
Either way, whatever. That's
That doesn't belong.
best
on this
marketing
list.
theory of the year. We can talk about another day, but that thing doesn't belong on this list.
I'm going to take Sonic Racing Transformed off.
Okay.
Okay.
Does Rise of the Tomb Raider need to be on here? I like that game a lot. I know it's got on PS4 this
It
year
was and PC.
and PC.
Yeah, it was only on Xbox last year.
What was
Yeah.
added to that? Anything?
VR.
Just VR?
They put out like 3 DLC
Yeah.
things for it, which the PS4 version has all of packed
Right.
in. Also, they did a ton of work for the PS4 Pro version of that
Right.
thing, which is kind of cool.
Okay.
But I played and reviewed that game on Xbox last year. Like, if you guys played it all this year and feel strongly
I
about
mean,
it,
I played it on Xbox last year.
I played it on PC
Same
this
here.
year.
Yeah.
Did last year.
But I didn't finish it this year.
I could see that going. I'll leave it to you guys.
Tell me about Bruce Lee,
Yeah.
Jeff. What's your favorite moment?
Come on, Jeff.
I played Bruce Lee like 4
Bruce Lee's-
times
Bruce
this
Lee's
year.
pretty
good.
It's a great ass game.
Yeah.
Uh,
I didn't realize I was talking to you about it. I never quite realized it was supposed to be a co-op game. I think
Yeah.
it's supposed to fight each other.
no, no, it is. But you are supposed to fight each other.
Oh.
I think you thought it was a co-op game.
Oh, maybe I thought it was a co-op. What's the other
Yeah.
guy's name?
Yamo is the sumo. I think is.
And he punched lanterns.
Yeah.
Is he better than
You just
Bruce
collect,
Lee?
You collect lanterns. The sumo?
Is Yamo better than Bruce Lee?
No.
He's the
Okay.
second player, of course not.
No, he's the second player, but only if you turn him on. But he fights you if you don't have it set to 2-player mode.
He does chase after you.
Yeah,
Does Yamo be there?
yeah, yeah,
It's an
Good.
okay game. Did
Uh,
you beat it?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay,
Well, every time.
Okay.
Every time I sit down to play Bruce Lee, I beat Bruce Lee. I might be playing with infinite lives, but I still don't lose very many of them.
The fact remains, though, that you're the only person that played Bruce Lee.
Well, I mean, that's, like, yes, okay. Like, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that is one of the 3 games for this
Okay.
list,
All
but
right.
that is a bad requirement for removing it
Right.
because that is every single one of the games that's going to get on this list is going to be one person played it. With the possible exception of Quake Live. I don't know how you spent your off time this year.
I should have played some Quake Live.
Yeah, so you should have because it's fucking damn
I should
good.
have played some Quake Live.
I don't know if Bruce Lee had the impact in 2016.
Well, that's
It's always next year
Yeah,
for
it's
Bruce
always
Lee.
gonna-
that's,
I mean,
that's the bigger thing. I don't just mean you're the only person that played it. It's like none of us were around to take part.
I
in that,
streamed it from home.
You know, you should.
You guys don't
you
understand.
shared it with the world.
Yeah, no, that's fine. You can cut it.
kind of made me want to go
okay.
play some Bruce Lee.
Yeah, right.
So it was
I
getting out
mean,
there.
if you feel strongly about it,
I don't.
okay.
All right, we can cut Bruce Lee.
All right.
Anybody play Quackshot this year?
Nope.
Not enough.
Okay.
Not enough.
It's still good.
Did anybody play the Witcher DLC this year?
Nope.
No,
No, really want to.
I know.
What the hell's wrong with y'all?
I know.
I didn't want to finish
That
The
stuff was
Witcher
great.
3.
Oh,
I had
you
a
guys are crazy.
I had a weird hang up, even though they put that smart feature in where you could just make a new character at the right level and start the DLCs. Like, I kept feeling like I should finish the real game before I play those, and which is probably the wrong way to look at it.
You can do that. That's how good it is.
I mean, I will say that, that game seems to have had lasting impact into this
Yeah,
year.
I like even not having. Did you play those DLCs?
Yeah.
Like, I just seeing the things I saw people say about those DLCs makes me want to leave it on this list.
It was
Yeah.
really good.
I mean, I played enough of The Witcher 3 to know I don't want to touch anything related to The Witcher 3. So, like, I'm over here actively thinking it's not a great game. So,
It's a
Me
great
too.
game.
I'm with Jeff on this.
Like, I'm.
Jesus.
I burned out on some of the gameplay aspects of it, but I still think it has some of the best writing I've ever seen
Yeah,
in
like
an
there's-
RPG.
I'm not saying it's totally without merit. I'm
Like, the
saying that
world
I
is
personally
so-
have like negative desire to see or play The Witcher 3.
I had a lot of fun sitting in with you when you were playing through that DLC.
It's a really good game.
I think it.
I could say, yeah, I
think it should stay.
I could see it be on the list. So I think our list is probably like if I'm probably saying this is Super Mario Maker, Witcher 3, and like Rocket League.
I feel good with those three.
Like I would
an argument
personally,
for
I
Shenmue.
would definitely put Quake Live on there over Witcher 3 myself. But
Anyone going to bat for Shenmue?
I think that's.
I mean,
that's
half
between,
this table pretty
that's-
much
that's
spent a lot of
between-
time with
that's
it.
between the three of you, I think.
I don't
Tom?
think... I think Shenmue's time was at the time it came out, and I think it was worse to play that game in 2016.
Oh, undeniably.
So I think
Yes,
we
yes.
did a disservice to Shenmue by bringing it up again in 2016.
It is
I think we
much
held-
worse now.
Yeah.
We held that
Yes.
game up to the light, and the solar radiation tore it the fuck apart.
So if there were the inverse of this category, maybe it would win of game you shouldn't have played in 2016 because you destroyed a game and people's like thoughts of that game and ruined childhoods.
Did you know that you can press X to examine items?
Okay,
I don't know if
take
anyone.
this off.
yeah, take it the fuck off. Get it out of there.
Whew. All right.
Punt it in the sun.
I'm gathering the
Still good.
Trackmania can go.
well, I know you guys played way more Trackmania Stadium than I did this year, right?
Wait, what?
Right?
No,
You guys,
I mean,
couple hundred hours.
Yeah, just enough to know that
it's
bad.
the best.
Sorry, Jeff.
Yeah, we can cut that.
I got nothing against Trackmania.
That's
but-
more. That's just. I just wanted a platform to say that is still the best Trackmania game. Trackmania Turbo is not quite what you want.
Sure.
It's not what you're looking for.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's fair.
That's fair.
And I wanted a platform to say that I'm playing Final Fantasy VI.
Yeah,
That's
you are.
pretty great.
Yeah, you are. How far are you? Where are you at?
I just went across an ocean.
So you fought that train, right?
I fought that train.
Yeah, you got the
Is that the
suplex.
Ghost-
Yeah,
is
I
that
didn't
Ghost Train?
suplex it. No,
You're past
Yeah.
the Velt.
Yes,
Okay,
past the Velt. I picked up a kid.
Gal,
Gal.
Yes,
the jungle kid.
Oh, you
Uh-huh.
did get him in your
I
party?
did. Yeah, I got
Yeah.
him in my party.
I love that there are party members you can miss in that game.
Oh, are they really?
There are so many party members in that game. There are some that are basically optional. You can like fail to find and recruit them.
Can't you in 7 too?
Like
the vampire man, Vincent or whatever?
I think he. Yeah,
Maybe Kate
but six has like a zillion.
Which one
characters.
has
Like, it's
Gobo?
crazy. Gobo?
Yeah,
Go?
go.
Go.
The guy that could
Robo?
mimic
Yeah.
anybody
Yeah.
else? Yeah,
Bobo?
that's 6.
Ditto.
6.
You
Which
haven't-
one had the Yeti?
He was in 6.
6.
Okay,
That was Umaro.
Umar.
Spoilers.
Oh, sorry.
We warned you up front.
Yeah, yeah,
Spoilers. This is how it's
for-
gonna go.
Yeah. But yeah, we can probably take that off.
Oh,
I'm the only one that
man.
played it. I'm the only one that played it.
No, it's hey, we gave it its
I
platform.
love hearing about it. though.
Yeah, I'll keep you posted.
Would you
Okay. What?
would you consider putting that cart in a capture device at some point,
Hmm.
playing some of that on video?
Maybe.
Because I would totally sit and watch you play some of that
Yeah,
if you keep going with it.
I'm not opposed to that.
I like this idea.
All right. If that's the case, then I guess we can cut it.
All right. I do think Tomb Raider should go.
Yeah, I guess so. If you guys don't feel super strongly.
It's a great game,
About
but I did not touch it this year, and
Yeah, I didn't look at any
Actually-
of the DLC that they put out for it.
I just looked back at my tweets and I think I did play through the entirety of it this year.
You did. It
So-
came out on PC in January.
But no,
so-
I played it on Xbox. I think I just didn't get around to it until like my tweet was
Oh,
from
you did?
February. So I guess
okay.
technically I played through the entirety of it this year and I loved it.
I would
Yeah,
take
it's a
Tomb
great
Raider
game.
over Mario Maker or Quake Live.
I absolutely think Mario Maker needs to be on this list. With just how much I played it and how typically I move from game to game, the idea that game was something I kept coming back to through the duration of the year.
I think I came
It's
back
pretty
to
crazy.
it. I mean, I did come back to it this year. Not a great deal, but it was one of the only things I booted up my Wii U to play at all this year.
Did you guys do a lot
It's
of
been
those
in my Wii
streams?
U since release and has not come out of it.
Yeah.
I played more Splatoon this year, I think, than I played Mario.
I definitely
Maker.
played more Splatoon than
Did
I
you
played
play more
Mario Maker.
Box Maker, Dan, than you played Super Mario Maker?
No, I played more Mario Maker this
Okay.
year. But I actually played a ton of Splatoon this year.
I
You
did
guys
play a lot.
Did you guys do a lot of those streams this year for Mario Maker?
We did some.
Like one or two, I'd say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did play a lot of Splatoon. My reluctance to putting that on there is that the support for that game has more or less run out at this point.
Yeah, the whole thing's where you pick a side and everything.
Yeah, they
don't
did
do
put a
those anymore.
lot of stuff
Yeah.
into that game over
That
the
was
course
all-
of the year.
That was
but,
all last year, wasn't it?
it's
They still did some.
yeah,
this
because
year.
it came out in the summer last year, and then
Yeah.
it kind of ran into this
Did
year.
is it still easy to find a match? Like
Oh,
last
yeah.
time you tried it,
Yeah.
you still get people and play?
The last time I tried to
that's
play was
good.
in October, and there are still people playing it
Cool.
for sure.
Mhm.
Not
That's
a
good.
ton, but enough.
Yeah. Good.
Okay.
Yeah, I would put Splatoon over Mario Maker.
That's crazy.
I mean, Splatoon's still real good.
Yeah. I mean, so is Mario Maker. I just didn't play as much as I should. I kind of burnt out, I think, near the end of last year.
Yeah,
Rondo of Blood is a really good Castlevania game.
it sure is.
It's
Maybe
probably
the best.
one of the best.
I've heard that for a very long time.
It is really, really good.
Lives up to the hype.
And lives up to 2016.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it is a,
Plays well today?
fun game. Yeah,
It's
it really
still
does.
rad now.
I need to play that.
Which is actually a really tough thing to... I'm going to take it off this list, but like...
Oh, what?
No, I think so. I think it's the right thing to do.
I think so. I think there's other stuff on here that...
Like you guys were gushing about it before we started recording, and that made me want to go watch you play through it.
I mean, if you want vote to keep it on here, I think there's other
Well, I
stuff
haven't
people
seen
can
it.
make better
I
arguments
haven't
for.
seen it. You would have to. I can't really.
But I think it
support
holds up as a game that anybody could go play now and looks good and plays well.
Hmm.
But I'll take it off.
All right. Okay. Tomb Raider coming off.
Yeah, I think
Did
so.
we decide?
I think Nidhogg too.
I'd say Nidhogg before Tomb Raider.
I think both go.
Did Nidhogg add anything or change
No, I
anything
don't
this
think
year?
so.
No.
They announced that
Didn't-
sequel this year. That was
didn't
kind of
need
it.
to.
It was just so good. Wait, so it's
Pure.
Quake Live. Tell me about Quake Live.
It's Quake 3 Arena
Live.
I don't know. There
with
was just
some
kind
maps and
there was kind of a resurgence in interest in Quake this year. With that new one
they
getting
announced,
announced.
they announced the game. Doom came out.
And Doom came out and was amazing.
good, but with bad multiplayer.
Oh, come
so
on.
Who cares?
Is it Quake Live still fun to play for more than like a couple of minutes of nostalgia stuff, or is it like something you could sit down and play? For...
I was playing it like not every day, but like multiple times a week
Yeah.
there for a bit.
Like Quake Live was coming up a lot.
Yeah.
Around here. I can see that.
And it's fucking fast and still good, and there's still just enough people playing it. And they made some changes to it this year to kind of change. Like for a while, it was like microtransactions or some kind of. It was a subscription actually.
Was this year when all the overall
I think this year might have been
happened
the
to
year
it?
they took all that out of it.
Okay.
Which I think
and added like the new weapon and all that stuff?
yeah.
Well, either way, we kept talking about it and
Yeah.
playing it on stream and
I
stuff.
think
so.
I think we've ended up playing it a couple of times.
So, how do you guys feel about Super Mario Maker, Quake Live, and The Witcher 3 for this list?
I could live with
I'd say
that.
take Witcher 3 off and, Rocket League actually
I-
added a bunch of stuff. and-
I think Witcher 3 stays.
I think
Yeah.
so as well.
Yeah.
I say this as someone who played more Rocket League and Splatoon this year than I did Witcher 3. I think that
Yeah.
the reaction to the Witcher 3 stuff, the DLC that I played with you, I think that belongs on there.
Like just reading the comments on your quick looks for those DLCs is enough to tip me toward The Witcher.
It's an exuberance you don't often see for post-release
Or
content.
actually, I did watch some of the streams and I could see why people were pretty excited.
Really good.
Yeah.
I'm excited about
it's
those
all
videos.
good. It's all well done.
And also, I finished the rest of The Witcher 3 this year.
Yeah.
It wasn't just the DLC. There was a lot of Witcher 3. Very
I'm
good
really
year.
jealous.
I think those top 3 are good.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
All right.
All right.
Now the question is what wins.
Witcher 3. It's a very good game.
I would be okay with that.
I would be okay with that too.
I vote Witcher.
I'm fine with that.
Well, that was easy.
Okay.
if you all feel that strongly
yeah.
about it, then fine.
I feel
Whatever.
comfortable
Like, yeah.
with that.
Like again, I just don't like that game.
Yeah.
So
I guess my only reservation is basing my vote so much on hearsay, like not just what you guys say, but like other people I know that played through those DLCs just like raved about how good they were.
So the thing I will say is that is the only game this year, out of sheer regret of not finishing it myself, I
Yeah.
actually sat down and watched other people play it because that was the thing I had time to do,
Yeah.
and I was very happy with it. Like I needed to see how that went.
Yeah. I've always felt some misgiving about never having finished that game, but
It's really good.
Mm-hmm.
And like I'm glad to have gotten through it this year because I couldn't speak to it last year when we did this.
Yeah.
And so, you can't really, when it comes time for Game of the Year stuff,
Yeah,
it's unfair to say it sounds good.
right.
But it is a really good game. And actually, I think wraps up very nicely. I'm sure they don't want to kill that Witcher franchise, but it has a very good end to it.
Well, I mean, we're 6 years away from Cyberpunk coming out, so
And then
Witcher
so then another 12 years after
Yeah.
that.
they've got time to think of something
Mhm.
for sure. All right, well that's 2016's old game of the year, The Witcher 3: Wild Hunt,
Nice.
with Super Mario Maker and Quake Live trailing behind.
I feel good about those.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm comfortable with that.
All right. Well,
Yeah, that's all
That
right.
was easy.
Yeah, that wasn't so bad. Okay, well, we're going to take our first quick break here to, go to the bathroom and stuff. So we'll be right back with some more categories. Okay, on to our second category, which, as mentioned, is Best Debut. The shittier, businessy way to refer to this category is Best New IP.
It's a thing that's not a sequel.
Yes.
It could be a spiritual successor.
Yeah.
It could be a similar type of game from a publisher that has made a game like that before.
Yes.
But as long as it's not something two,
Best
something colon
Yes.
the revenge.
Best original game is another way to look at this.
Yeah.
No numbers, no colons.
Yeah,
right?
I think best original game gets weird because then it's why we don't use that term, is because it would become a debate between
Oh, sure. What is
best
it? What's
original
actually
and
original?
most original.
Sure.
Yes.
Sure.
You took a chance by not leaning on printing something on the box that
Yes.
people would recognize.
Yes, exactly. That's probably the best way to look at this.
Sure.
And we have a long list for this category, which I will now read. Overcooked, Darkest Dungeon, Overwatch, Thumper, Super Hot, Inside, Hyper Light Drifter, The Witness, Abduction, Salt and Sanctuary,
Hang on, it's on there twice.
Inside again,
I'll take that off.
Firewatch, Enter the Gungeon, No Man's Sky,
Who did that?
Stardew Valley, The Witness again.
Whoops.
I'm just gonna. What do you guys think about The Witness? I'm gonna add that at the bottom.
Yeah,
all
that
right.
should probably be on
Yeah.
here. Where was I? Stardew
Stardew
Valley,
Valley.
Job Simulator, Stellaris, Oxenfree, Bound, Headlander, Quadrilateral Cowboy, Devil Daggers,
Yeah.
Owlboy, Ultimate Chicken Horse. It's like Odd Man Out. Tom Clancy's The Division.
Yeah, it's
Not a lot of
Like
AAA in this
zillion-
category.
A zillion indie darlings, and then big ass publisher driven multiplayer shooter.
There's some heavy hitters here, though.
And Event Zero
Yeah.
is the last one we have on this list right now.
Yeah, so this is a real indie-heavy category, and also a
Yeah,
lot of
that's-
single-word titles in this category
sure.
this year.
Yeah, the indie focus I think is just to be expected because those are the people who are more willing to take risks because they're not spending $20 to $50 million making a game.
right. Yeah. Yeah.
They start off with a single word so they can add the colon later.
Yes, exactly.
You gotta start somewhere.
Start small and then build.
The Witness
for your-
colon The Revenge.
Yes.
The Witness 2 DX.
Get witnessed.
Infinite.
The Witness Maker.
There's some good stuff on here.
Yeah, wow.
It's a hell of a list.
It's hard to know where to start. I feel like we should maybe start throwing out ones that we don't think actually
Yeah.
are going to make the cut.
They're not
With so
strong
many
enough.
heavy hitters, like it'll
Yeah.
be easy to pick out the ones that
Yeah.
aren't going to make it. Enter the Gungeon's not gonna
that
make
was
it,
the first
you know?
one I was going to mention.
Yeah,
like
I-
I wanted to like that game.
I liked
I don't
it.
hate it.
It's charming.
I think the mechanics of that game are super good. It's tight. It's got a neat look to it. The hidden stuff in that game is really well, kind of meted out. I was really surprised by how much I liked it, and I liked it a whole lot.
I did never enjoyed any of the guns I found. I never liked the way any of them handled.
I got to the end of it once and then uninstalled it.
I mean, that's
just kinda-
to be fair. Getting to the end is not for nothing.
I ended up playing quite a bit of it. I think it is tight. It does control well. But half the time I was like, man, I could be playing Nuclear Throne this whole time.
That's the thing. It kind of did for me what Nuclear Throne did not do for me, personally. But that's fine that it doesn't make it. I just wanted to say my piece on that game.
All right.
I like Bound, and I think there are other categories where we can talk about it more. I don't think it's in this list.
Yeah, Bound is a
Yeah.
really cool
Bound
thing.
is awesome. Yeah,
Yes.
but it's
Bound
not-
is a cool. It looks amazing.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
not going to be
but-
top 3 on
and it's-
this list, though.
It's expressive in a way that games typically aren't, and I like it a lot. But yeah, it's not going to stack up to the heavy hitters in this list.
Yep, taking it off.
I think Headlander also is a
Yeah.
really, really fun game. But
Yes.
I think
Headlander is very cool, but yeah,
I wanted to like Headlander more than I did. That's
the
kinda how I-
the Metroid-y aspects of it didn't hook me the way I thought they would.
They're not perfect, and I would say that there are other categories where I will feel more strongly to talk about that game. But Headlander's very cool.
yeah, very cool concept.
Yeah.
I think Job Simulator is one of the better uses of VR. I don't think, as far as a full-on game, it matches up with a lot of the other stuff.
Yeah,
it's a little thin, but at the same time, like it's maybe is or isn't an aspect of this category. Like I would really love to see them make another one of those with 4 new things.
I think
like
that is an
sci-fi
aspect of here.
themed
Yeah, it
job
is.
simulator or space jobs or like
Yeah.
Right.
like
There's potential there, but as it stands,
I guess so.
This one is not on. This
I don't know.
list,
I played through the whole thing, and by the end of each individual job, like I felt like each job went on 5 or 10 minutes longer than I was enjoying it.
yeah.
Like,
Okay.
Parts of it are really funny. Like the personality in that game is top notch.
Yes.
Yeah, and the level of interaction I think is really good.
Yeah.
It's a great first kind of VR thing. But okay, yeah, I don't know that it'll make top 3.
I think we're talking around the one that is the most glaring here. Which,
No Man's Sky?
Yes. Because I think there are times where we will be able to praise No Man's Sky for certain things, but if we're going to praise anything, its debut is definitely not the thing to praise.
Definitely not.
Not a good look.
We can cut that.
Okay.
I think there's something to be said for the things it did hit in its game as a debut in a new property. I mean, this thing was something we talked about for a long time. Like this is an original idea.
I think
whether they executed on it or not.
so much of the conversation around No Man's Sky has to happen in the context of how they build it and how much build up there was to it and what the expectations were. Like if that game had dropped on Steam early access at $20 and nobody had ever heard of it before the day it came out, I think we would have all played it and been like, "This is pretty cool." But with what they priced it at and what they said about it prior to launch and stuff, the conversation is completely different.
Yeah, because it would have been, this is pretty cool. I'll check back in with it when they finish it.
Yeah.
And also $20 seems like a good price for this.
Like I said a couple weeks ago, like I removed from the hype. I mean, as much as one can, I think that game is just disappointing.
I'm with you that I probably wouldn't have stuck with it for hours and hours, even if you took all the expectations away.
Yeah,
I'll have that conversation with you guys later on, but I
Sure.
think just for this category, it doesn't belong.
No, I totally agree.
I think Devil Daggers is a really cool thing.
Oh, dude, no, don't do this.
Dude, Devil Daggers is cool as hell.
I think it's too early to go after that.
Too early?
one.
Okay.
I think you're, yes.
I like it a
the thing
lot.
I would say is that I just don't think Devil Daggers had enough going for it to keep me going for more than a day and a half.
It had
Exactly,
everything going for it.
There was a hot and heavy weekend where I played a shitload
you're,
of that game.
You're right. I only played it for about 2 weeks, but it was a hell of a 2 weeks.
It's really cool. But there are much better games on here.
How about Tom Clancy's The Division?
That game is awesome in some ways, decidedly less awesome in others, and it had a very rough path. That I still think they're on that rough path in some ways.
It sounds like it's getting better. It sounds like that.
It sounds like they actually
sounds like that big overhaul in October was
survival stuff,
actually.
or-
They reworked a bunch of the loot stuff.
So
right?
they've been like slowly reworking the game and pushing back their DLC to give them time to actually fix it, and they kind of got there in a lot of ways.
It sounds like it sounds a lot like what happened to Destiny at the 1 year mark when they like totally reworked light system.
Sort of, kind of,
a lot like that, and the same thing that happened in Diablo 3,
right?
Like
yes,
loot games not having a great launch track record the last few years.
I will be way more interested in the Division 2. I think.
Yeah.
Like this is
So not a great first impression.
actually the 0 to 30. Your initial
That felt pretty
experience of that game, I think, is really good. It's that their end game was really bad, and then their DLC was not great. Like the stuff they started bolting onto the game, I think, just served to make it more confusing. And I actually think there's still more to do there. But the 0 to 30, like the leveling in that game, the story, if you want to call it that, the campaign, I think it's a lot of fun. I think it controls well. It's a great bit of Clance.
I think I might have been more willing to go to bat for that thing if the cliff between the boss main encounters in that game and everything else you do in it wasn't so steep.
Yeah, I could see that, and I think their multiplayer stuff, while interesting in concept, I think that stuff is maybe been especially rough and disappointing in some ways. So I am okay with cutting it, but I did just want to say like that. That game got a lot of shit, but like underneath a lot of that stuff is a pretty good foundation.
I dig.
I did not play enough Stellaris. I just watched it.
Yeah, I played a little of Stellaris. This was sort of my Austin Walker Memorial Edition here. Stellaris seems like a very cool thing, and the people I know who like it an awful lot. That said, there were definitely some problems with that game when it first came out. I think they fixed some of that stuff as it's gone along. It probably doesn't hang with the best games in this category, but it's a cool thing.
Also a cool thing, Event Zero. I am really impressed with how they took a technology and made it into a game, like text to AI and like text interpretation. And they built kind of a cool story around it. I don't think it's like solid in all aspects, but I was really intrigued by what I played.
What are you like scripting things in that?
No, you're talking to an AI.
It's like, do you remember Dr. Svezzo?
Yeah.
Oh,
Like, what if he were like running a space station?
It's
and, like,
just Eliza. It's a
Yeah.
text interpreter.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
and it works fairly well. Like when it
Yeah.
hits, it works really well. But when you break the seams on
it doesn't always work.
when you start doing like dictionary style
Yeah.
things of like just recognize this word, that's when it breaks
Okay.
a bit. But they have programmed it in a way to counter a lot of that.
Okay.
Like
That makes me want to check that
it's
out.
pretty cool.
Okay.
But I'm with Drew. I think I like that game a lot, but I think I like that concept maybe more than I like that game.
Yeah.
Like I want to see that more.
Yeah, I'd love to see them do something else.
I think Ultimate Chicken Horse can go.
Yeah.
It was probably among the best of the couch multiplayer games that came out this year.
Yeah,
Like,
definitely.
Honestly, I had to go wait, which one was Ultimate
Really?
Chicken
Right.
Horse?
it was the one I definitely enjoyed the most
Yeah.
of those games this year,
Yeah.
but it wasn't necessarily like because it was so amazing. It's just because I've been so burned out on that genre,
Well,
and it's just a well-made one.
I don't
of
know.
those.
It had
more
a
than
nice
that.
gimmick.
It's
It had a
well
fun
made.
gimmick.
Yeah, like I would say, to their credit,
It was an awesome gimmick.
they made it
implemented.
They made a 4-player co-op multiplayer game with a gimmick that actually was interesting.
Yeah,
level
level building
building,
gimmick that
yeah.
works.
Pretty hard
Yeah.
to do at this point.
Yep.
But
yeah,
I think it's
not
a
gonna
great
hold up.
game, but
Yeah.
it's not here.
I thought Owlboy was really cool from when I played, getting that quick look together.
Yeah.
It's a really well made thing. You can tell that a lot of love went into that.
Yeah, almost 10 years worth.
I just
Were they loving it that entire 10 years?
I doubt
I feel
it.
like we're not qualified to say.
but I did not continue playing it. A little bit after the quick look, but
Yeah,
I didn't
like
get that far.
I did spend a little time with it. It was just like, this is cool.
I like everything I saw from that game, but obviously something didn't hook me enough to keep going. So I'd say take that.
Yeah, it's like near and dear to my heart as that game is, because I've been following it for so long. I bounced off it kind of, well, not hard, but
Yeah, there's
didn't drag me in like it.
yeah.
I thought it would. I could see it go.
Now we're starting to get into some deeper cuts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Sorry. No, go for it. I was gonna say Oxenfree. Which one is that's
Yeah.
the kids on the island?
Yeah, so that's the Kids on the Island. It's ex Telltale folks. Their first game with that studio. I like that game a lot from a story perspective. The gameplay is a little light, and I will say that I felt like it was missing kind of a middle act to it. But like from like the dialogue stuff in that game is really cool and inventive. The way the sort of the overlapping conversations happen in that game is really well done. And it has a great aesthetic to it. Like the whole vibe of that game is great.
I like its look a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does look cool.
That said-
it didn't pull me in really.
Like there are multiple games on this list right now that I know are going in my top 10. I think that one's going to be like a bubble case that is not going to make it for me. So
Okay.
I'm not going to defend that one to the death.
Sounds like that can go.
It's very good. People should play it.
Oh boy.
Who's going to bat for Hyperlight?
Yeah, that was the one I was going to mention.
Me,
Probably could.
I love that game.
that game is exceptional.
That game's really good.
There's something super special about that game.
There's stuff on here that I would pick over Hyperlight, but that game.
I'm not ready to let go
should
of
at
it.
least be
I feel
talked
like
about.
post patch really kind of turned it around.
so that's
well,
part
for
of the,
me, and that was just a visual thing. Like the gameplay and everything remained, the same for the most
right.
part. But
really because
was-
I saw a lot of people saying the frame rate stuff made it harder to play. Like the like
I
the
don't
30
see how anyone would.
the 30
they
hertz
had
stuff.
and they have the option to kick it back down to 30 if they want to.
No, I'm saying originally when it came out.
Oh,
Like
yes, originally when it
running
came out, yeah.
like running at 30 hertz, it was because it's so demanding and so
That-
timing based that it was actually harder to play because.
Oh,
of
I see
that.
what you're saying. Okay.
So my big knock against it is I've been waiting on that 60 FPS stuff to be finalized. So I haven't.
Yeah, I
played
don't
it
think it's
yet.
out on consoles yet,
It's
but
not.
it's made
It's
into
not.
the main branch on
Oh,
PC,
really? It was
but-
okay. It was beta last I
Yep.
checked. So, well, that's good. That's good news. I think that thing will get there, but like, I don't know.
like I heard plenty of people love it just from the get-go.
I think even at its debut level, like that game was really tight and really played really well.
I think it's like, I guess I heard a lot of people talking about it at launch. Not that I'm, who like on some level, who cares? But talking about it favorably at launch, but then it was like when that patch started kind of rumbling, that was people like, oh, okay, finally, this is the thing that is gonna make it actually play as good as it needs to play to work.
Yeah, it's not perfect by any stretch in that state, but I don't think it was like harmful to what makes that game great.
I mean, I doubt it ruins the game or anything. It's just looking at the rest of this list. Like
I would just like to leave it for now.
That game having an issue that made me put off playing it compared to some of the other stuff on this list is enough to.
I think I spent some time with it, and eventually I went all the way west, and I think I beat that boss, and then just kind of started exploring in other directions, and just went out a little ways in each one, and just didn't necessarily find any of them to be that exciting, and haven't played it since.
Okay.
I really like it, but this is a tough list.
It is.
It is. I think I have like 5 other things on here that I might go to bat for before Hyperlight.
Can we just leave it for now?
Yeah, let's leave it.
Sure.
Please.
How about I didn't play Abduction.
That game's great.
Yeah?
That's really cool.
Is it one of the 3 best debuts of the year?
I feel like it might be something I'd be way into, and I'm kind of bummed I didn't
You would
get.
really like that game.
So tell me why it's so awesome.
It is. I'm afraid to say this in this room because some people are going to groan, but like it is Myst, but like modernized in all the right ways to make it to make it viable in 2016.
I guess take it off. I don't know. I'm not hearing a lot of.
Thank you, Vinny.
Is it made in Supercard?
Yes, it is. It's a hypercard.
Okay.
Yep, it's a SWIF.
Great.
You just drag the .swif into your browser and then.
Fantastic.
They made it in Unreal 4. It looks really nice. The world design is super original.
Some pretty good use of FMV in that.
Yeah, that's a whole other argument in favor of it. Like the use of FMV is like conceptually the same way they used the FMV in Myst 25 years ago, except brought into a modern context in a really creative way.
Okay.
It's striking.
Like scene transitions?
The characters in the game are FMV. You're in a fully 3D Unreal Engine 4 world that you can walk around and explore, and it's super nicely designed and looks really pretty. And then every time you meet a character, they are straight up FMV.
Great.
Like they and
like holograms.
And I forget which Miller it is, Rand or Robin, whoever I think it's Rand Miller is like one of the main characters in the game. So just like the guy who created Myst is a character in this game.
That sounds pretty good.
And you only ever talk to him through this door. He's behind this door the whole time, and he just pulls up the shade on the window and talks to you through the window.
As a video.
It's just a video of him.
Like Pee-wee's Playhouse style? Like, is he just outside the house?
He's behind a door.
Okay.
Like you ring the doorbell and you hear him banging around in there going like, who is it? And he walks up and opens the door.
There's some real
but the puzzle design is like it's Myst-like but more approachable because you can actually go around and explore stuff. It's pretty much all machinery. It's a bunch of old machinery that you got to get working, so you're
But no inventory? Like
there's no.
Okay.
Not really.
So you're just like turning dials.
Lots of stuff that you have to get up and running again.
Aligning mirrors.
Some of which is like old Americana, like an old gas station, and then some of which is like very utterly alien and bizarre. Like it's a cool mix of that stuff. The world building is really cool because there are like multiple kind of alien factions that interrelate in weird ways. It's a really cool, interesting setup that I won't go into it because you kind of figure out what's going on in this bizarre place you've been transported to as you start going through the game and solving the puzzles. I didn't finish it. I got 6-8 hours into it.
Okay.
But it's super. The more you play it, the more intriguing it is. The world really drew me into it.
Let me ask you this: if you were to keep Abduction,
yes,
what do you think you would cut?
Oh, geez. That's a tough question because stuff I would cut is stuff that I know other people will fight very hard for.
Would you keep Abduction or Devil Daggers?
I don't know. That's so apples and oranges.
You have to cut something.
There's a lot of different fruit on this list.
Yeah.
What else do people want to cut?
Well, let's talk about the other Myst game on here.
Man, that's tough.
What's the other one?
The Witness.
Oh, that one's really good.
I think The Witness is on this list.
Yeah.
It's so
I
good.
wish I liked that game.
Yeah, like The Witness is like one of the best games of the year.
Yeah.
I didn't like it, but I'm not going to fight it to be cut off this list.
Man.
Yeah, and that's right up my alley of game. I don't know, something about it. There was just a part. I think I got caught up, and this is just a personal thing in the movement speed, and I don't have a lot of time to play games, and I was like, oh crap!
So
I know where I
get on with it already.
I know where I have to go.
Yeah.
Can I just sprint here?
There is a run
sprint.
button.
Not fast enough.
There should be a double run button.
Yeah. So I think that was a part where it was like, I'd get me into some of this traversal stuff instead of the, because when you're exploring, it's cool and it's pretty.
Yeah.
But I didn't find like enough stuff just in the walking from place to place. Like once you got into an area, it was rad.
Yeah.
And some stuff I don't think I got deep enough into to know if I needed to remember stuff from one zone to another or go back and forth. And like once I started thinking about that, it started to become very oppressive.
I feel like if you actually ramped up the run speed in that game too much further from where it is, you would really start to miss stuff.
Which is,
Yeah.
I mean, I assume
Yeah.
it's designed
Yeah,
intentionally.
like-
Like it is not
I
an
think
accident or
part
like
of, part of that game is very much like noticing little details that you might not have seen
Yeah.
otherwise and figuring out what they mean.
Yeah. So like I think I had a personal spot in my where I'm at playing games that it didn't connect for me because on paper it is a very much a game that I would like. So I'm cool with leaving it on there.
I
Yeah.
would doubly say after what you've just said about The Witness that you should go play Abduction because it sounds like that might be maybe more what you wanted out of The Witness.
It's got a sick run button.
It has a double run button. You can absolutely 100%
Okay.
play double run in that game.
Great.
There's a trick you can actually use to just fucking fly
Great.
from place to place.
It's got bunny hop.
All
That's
right.
basically it.
I'll
gonna-
get it out of the way. I'm okay with Salt and Sanctuary being taken off.
Cutting.
Okay.
I'm probably the other biggest fan of that game here besides you, I'm guessing. And
I think it was a super good debut.
I
Like,
guess I could see that.
I did spend a little bit of time with it.
and you bounced off.
I
did.
really-
know.
I really like that
Like
game.
I think it's like a really cool conceptual thing. Like I think that's awesome.
I think it's executed well. I think it's
Yeah.
impressive how much they, captured like a Dark Souls-esque game in a 2D format.
Yeah.
I think it's fantastic.
I'm going to choose one of my children here to go. I'm going to say Quad Cowboy. I like Quad Cowboy a great deal. It is such a cool and bizarre thing. It is also very much the Blendo Games thing doing its thing in a different kind of story, but it's a little sloppy in places too, I think.
Yeah,
It's really cool.
It's such a cool game that I didn't end up sticking with as much as I thought I would. Like I really enjoyed it out of the gate, and I was like, man, it's finally here.
I ended up finishing it, and I'm glad I
yeah.
did. But I will say that it took a little more work for me to end up wanting to finish that game than I'd hoped. I still think it's rad as hell, especially if you're into those kind of like weird, sort of alternate history, old tech type things. That kind of aesthetic, like that game's amazing. But I think it loses to most of the stuff that's still on this list.
How do you guys feel about Cutting Super Hot?
I
No.
don't feel good
I
about
could
that.
see it could. I like it a lot.
That was a
I-
trick question. I
yeah.
was just trying to make
Okay.
sure we knew
You
what was
just see
secure.
right.
how hard that was going to go.
Yeah.
It's really good.
How do you guys
I don't,
feel
I don't
about-
think it's top 3.
What?
I think it's might be top 1.
Oh,
No, we're gonna have
That is-
we'll have that
insane.
fight in a second.
yeah.
All right.
Let's not get
all
ahead
right.
of ourselves.
Overcooked.
Overcooked is some of the most fun I've had with the game this year.
I really liked Overcooked.
Yeah,
Overcooked's
me too.
incredible. I want to play all the DLC. It's one of the best multiplayer co-op experiences I've had in years.
My strong preference would be to never play Overcooked ever again.
Really?
But after we did that quick look or UPF or whatever it was,
Yeah,
it was
it's-
like, okay, cool,
I don't
great.
know.
I think
Wanna
it's
watch it
it's a
anymore.
joy.
It's so much fun.
Yeah, I agree that it's a joy.
Yes.
I agree that it's a joy.
All
Yes.
right.
I'm Team
100%.
Joy. Team
I-
Joy over here.
I really like Overcooked.
Man, all right. Let's talk about Inside. That's a really.
It's really good. I don't think it's top 3.
I don't think it is either.
I'm
I think-
actually on that.
I think we
page.
talk more about that with other categories
I'm
for
definitely-
sure. I don't think it's this one.
I'm definitely,
It's-
I'm
yeah, I'm
definitely
not-
not going to win this fight then.
I'm not sure it's a debut so much as
That
it is
is-
like a refinement.
That is the thing.
Yeah.
I like as much as I think it's one of the top 3 games of the year. I am with you that it's like a way better Limbo. Like,
Okay.
it is.
Yep.
That sounds.
It is. It
It's
is
a
an
great
original
game.
It
That
is
sounds
an-
like a path out
it,
for here.
it is.
Yeah.
It is an original game, and it does qualify to be in this category. But it is very much the exact same kind of game.
and it is so good.
And I think there are more than one other category that we will talk about this.
Yeah.
More, yeah.
I'm okay with Inside going.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take it off. here.
Part of me fucking hates that, but but
Hey, we got to make some choices here.
yeah. Alex, I don't think Thumper is going to get a whole lot of support here.
Y'all are crazy.
I
that
like
that game's super neat.
I like Thumper quite a bit,
Yeah.
but in small bursts, like it doesn't.
I like Thumper a lot as well, and I think on the debut side, I think I actually like its first impression for me is really good.
Yeah, I mean, the thing I'll say for it is, the two guys who worked on that game have been working on it for a long time. Like that's kind of their labor of love, and I feel like that actually shows in the game, like just the tightness of the gameplay and the aesthetic and the way it all plays off each other. Like it feels like a really carefully constructed and elaborate thing that is actually kind of simple in the way you play it, but the combo system in that game is really like mastering that thing is extremely hard, even for someone who plays a lot of rhythm games.
It was surprising for me how much of an also-ran I thought that was going to be, hearing someone describe it.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like anything on
is this
paper.
like an audio surf or what is
Sure.
this? And then seeing it and hearing it, being like, oh, this is totally different.
It's very much its own thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that being said as well, like, again, I think there's just other stuff on here that I personally would pick 3 other things on here.
Yeah, I would too.
Oh God, that stings.
We can leave it on here for now, but there's some other stuff.
I think Thumper has really stiff competition.
Yeah. I feel bad about it, but you guys are probably right.
Like-
so I'm okay. Okay. I can let it go. Just get ready for me to be very obstinate when it comes to the top 10.
I think, is there anything else on here that anybody feels that we haven't talked about that should... All right, Stardew Valley is
It's
pretty amazing.
damn near the top of my games of the year list.
And Vinny,
if
where
not the top.
where you were on what was the game where you were everyone else loved but you didn't? Like 5 minutes ago. Which one was it?
I didn't. That we cut.
Did we cut? Anyway,
It's been such a long
Anyway,
thing.
that's where I am with Stardew Valley.
I think I'm there. I think I'm there too.
I understand
Yeah.
everything about what people love about Stardew Valley. It does not click with me at all.
The Witness.
The Witness, yes.
Oh.
And
I love your turn to the camera when you said that.
yeah, no, it was good emphasis.
I
Very
played it way
diplomatic.
more than any other game this year. I mean,
Yeah.
I put over 100 hours into that game. I loved every second of it. I'll probably go back and play more.
I watched you play a lot of it and thought like,
Yeah.
oh man, this is dangerous. I don't know if I should play it because it looks so awesome. And then I went and played it and went like, I don't want to play this at
Yeah.
all.
How much
I-
did you put into it?
Like not like an hour or two, something like that. You know, like,
As I got more into it, it's one of the only games in recent years that's done that thing where I'll sit down and like, all right, I'll play a little bit of Stardew Valley, and then like 6 hours go by, and then like I would have weeks where that happened like every night. It's like, okay, well I'll just do a day real quick, and I'll see if I can get a little further in the caves or whatever, and then next thing you know, it's 3 in the morning.
I don't like the
It's-
day structure at all. Like
Man.
I think that robs it of like as someone who would just want to like sit down and play that game. Like I know you don't have to have every day be optimal, right? You can take as long as you want. Who
Oh, yeah,
cares?
yeah.
But like that aspect of the game, get in and out, you know, like go to the caves, but don't stay there too long. Like it's just no. Like those are restrictions that I just don't want to engage with in a game like that in such a way that I was just like, man, like actually fuck this.
I just thought there were so many hooks. Like let's say it's raining one day. It's like, okay, well, it's going to be a cave day. I'm going to go fight for a while. Or there's a day where I'm going to totally rearrange all my walking paths on my farm. Or, I'm going to go try to woo Abigail for a while.
Yeah.
Like, there's so much going on. And then like when it changes seasons finally, that feels like it changes everything. The soundtrack changes, and that's awesome. And you're planting new stuff, and you're trying to figure out what seeds to buy for the season. Like, I just couldn't stop playing it. I couldn't I kept looking forward to the next thing that kind of changed the whole game.
Whereas I felt like every character I found and interacted with, like the idea of like spending a day like wooing Abigail is like, I don't actually care about any of these
that's
characters.
not deep. That's
Like,
not
it's
deep by
just
any means.
kinda,
Yeah,
like,
the interpersonal relationship stuff. It's not deep by any means. It's hey, find out that Abigail likes mayonnaise and bring her a thing of mayonnaise every day. You know, whatever.
if Abigail likes mayonnaise, we're done talking.
Oh, okay.
I'm done.
She's very
talking with
nice
Abigail.
outside
I'm
of
sure,
the mayonnaise
I'm sure
thing.
she's
Yes.
nice.
I just think that there's so much going on in that game, and I thought it was just such a monumental, for a debut. We're talking about debut. This is one guy that made this game.
This is one guy.
So that
Yeah.
I don't think we actually
Yeah, I don't think that
adhere
matters.
to how many people made it.
Factor that in. Okay.
But I do think it is, an impressive thing
impressive.
that came out of
It is
nowhere.
absolutely
yeah,
impressive.
I had not heard of this game in my life, and then we were looking for stuff to do quick looks of, and someone's like, "Hey Dan, have you played Harvest Moon?" It's like, "No." It's like, "Well, do you want to check out Stardew Valley?" Yeah, sure, I'll check it out. And then it became like one of my favorite games.
I think even
of
the
the year.
Harvest Moon devs have come out and said, "Yeah, that game kind of ate our lunch."
well, that's where I come to it. And like, I really like Stardew Valley, what I've played of it, but like, it is a very much. It feels like
similar to.
it is a very Harvest Moon, not with the cave stuff necessarily.
The thing is like I would actually maybe say, I couldn't necessarily pick a game out, but like my time over the years playing some Harvest Moon, I would probably rather play Harvest Moon.
And maybe some
It's
of the
more
reason,
focused.
Yeah.
maybe some of the reason this hit me so hard is because I had not played anything in this genre, and so
we played
for
Animal
this,
Crossing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that feels different. Though.
I mean, it's not the same. I know it's not a 1-1 analog, but you've played stuff
and
like
I do
this.
I do love Animal Crossing.
Yeah.
But I think this is probably better than Animal Crossing, and I love
I
that.
think it's like maybe more of a game with
Yeah,
some of its
there's
options
more going
and stuff
on.
like that. But
Yeah.
I actually would strongly prefer the interaction and like customization options of an Animal Crossing to anything that starts.
There's funnier characters and dialogue
Yeah.
and stuff in Animal
Yeah.
Crossing, but as a video game with the amount of stuff you
Yeah,
can do,
yeah,
you're not just delivering wallpaper to a rhino. You know, there's
Right.
a billion different things going
But that's
on.
the weird thing is though. Is I'm telling you, I would rather deliver
mean,
wallpaper to a rhino.
I like doing that too.
yeah, than
think
anything I saw in Stardew Valley.
Stardew Valley, I think, takes Harvest Moon and some of the open world survival stuff that's come out in the last couple of years and mixes them together in an interesting way.
Like I don't even like
Yeah.
like that open world survival stuff, and I've never
but you
played Harvest Moon.
like Terraria and that kind of stuff.
I didn't get into Terraria.
Okay.
I like Minecraft, but I didn't play a ton of it.
Like that's what that cavern stuff felt like to me. Was a little more of that. And like
Which,
I
it sounds like Harvest Moon actually did a lot of that cavern stuff with Rune Factory.
I never did that stuff.
Okay, I think that's more focused on that stuff. So it sounds like it was doing stuff that other games have done before it, but just the whole package, there is so much there, and I never really got tired of it. Like, I want to go back. I want to do more. There's stuff that I didn't finish up in the game.
All right,
Dan.
Okay,
I'm fine
well,
with leaving it
we're-
on here for now.
Well, okay, we're getting down to a pretty tough list here.
Yeah, I know.
Does
I don't
anyone,
wanna-
does anyone feel super strongly about Firewatch?
I mean, I feel very strongly about Firewatch, but
I like Firewatch.
I don't necessarily think it hangs with these.
There,
I'm
there
with
are
you there.
aspects of Firewatch that I will totally talk about in other categories.
Yep.
But,
Yeah.
but
It's a great game.
parts, the story didn't really land for me
Yeah.
the way that I'd hoped it would.
I think the risk they sort of took with the story there, it does. I think the way they sketch those two characters out over the course of it is really well done.
Yeah.
The aesthetic of it obviously is, it's a pretty gorgeous looking game.
Yeah.
There's a lot there that I like, but I think again, there are games on here I feel more strongly about.
Actually, I shouldn't say the whole story didn't land for me. It's just kind of
There's a couple of pieces that aren't perfect.
the way
for
it
sure.
wraps up sort of didn't all the way come together
Right.
for me.
Yeah, I'm fine with letting it go from this list.
Yeah.
I think we got to talk Devil Daggers. I just don't think it hangs.
Not compared to these.
In light of the discussion we've had since the last time we talked about Devil Daggers, like doubly so, like I just don't think it.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's a real cool thing.
I think also like I'd like to take a second to remind everybody that like cutting it from this list does not make it a bad game.
No, of course not.
Right.
I know.
Wait a minute, what are you saying?
Yeah, I'm saying that like these are all good games.
Oh, okay, yeah. I mean, if you say so.
Oh God.
Yeah, this is getting rough.
Brad, do you think Abduction's gonna make it past
The Witness.
the rest of these guys on this list?
I don't know.
That's the concern.
Is Darkest Dungeon going to stay on this list?
I feel pretty strongly about that one.
I do
but
too.
I'm almost ready to cut.
Let me just
I like it a
man.
lot, but I don't know.
let me just say my piece for it, which is that the thing they are going for in that game, they nail it so hard and so perfectly. Like just the look of it, the sound design, the way that the sanity mechanics sort of play into the battle system. All that shit is complete in a way that is incredibly impressive. The only knock against it, and I think the thing that will probably take it out of this contention, is that a lot of that game is grind. That is what it does.
Yeah.
And if you don't love that grind, then you're not going to enjoy this at all.
Like finding out how much grind there is in it, especially toward the end, was what kind of got me to.
and the ending in that game is insane.
not put a lot of time into
And
it.
it's super brutal in
Yes.
terms of like
I've heard finishing that game is like,
randomness, like-
is like climbing Mount Everest.
It is.
Sounds like it's not remotely worth the trouble.
For my part, I may find it worth the trouble because I enjoy playing it even when it punishes the shit out of me, and boy does it ever. But that said,
I think I like it better in other categories.
yes, I think that's going to be my stance as well.
I'm with you.
I have removed it from the list.
Okay. Because the one I want on here the most is still on here, and that's fine.
I mean, I think Overwatch is on this list.
Yes.
Like that's
How about
that's.
how do you guys feel about Overwatch, Superhot, and The Witness?
I feel good about that. Is my three. That is 100% the three.
Okay, out of my babies on here, which are Overwatch, Overcooked, and Stardew Valley, the one I would be closest to, if I had to pick one of those three
Yeah.
to not make it, I hate to say, but Overcooked.
Yeah.
It's so much fun. I love it, but if I had to pick one of those three, that one.
Overcooked is exceptional, but it's a very simple game. It does what
Yeah.
it does very well. But I think that the impact some of these other games have had on us and just in general is much stronger.
Yeah,
well
like,
said, Alex.
Overcooked is awesome, but I would pretty much only ever want to play it with you guys on a stream. You know?
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't play it by myself.
It's the only multiplayer game me and my girlfriend played all year. It was the only thing she wanted to play.
Yeah.
But that said, I still feel much more strongly about a few other games on this list.
I'd play it with you guys off stream.
Well, that too.
Aw.
But
Thanks, Benny.
I love you all.
To me, it kind of felt like someone turned a Mario Party minigame into a full game, and I don't want to touch it ever again.
You're
actually with
broke.
you,
I feel like
Jeff,
you're broken.
You just had to get that last word in
Thanks,
there.
Dan.
It's just I don't want to have anything. to do
Overcooked
with
is a wonderful,
Overcooked.
joyous thing. We can move on.
okay, I don't want to turn this into mob rule or anything, but does anybody besides Dan feel super strongly about Stardew? Because
No.
what I was getting from that conversation is that you're the only one here.
I do not have a lot of hours in that game. I will say that I definitely like it more than Jeff does, but I don't have a strong opinion about it.
I have a decent amount of hours in that game, and I like it a lot.
It will be my number 1 or number 2 this year.
But I think that the three I said before, I think is a really strong list.
What was that?
Overwatch, Super Hot, and The Witness.
I would also say that I would probably rather have Stardew Valley on there over The Witness, but I would like to preface all of my commentary on The Witness by saying The Witness is extremely not my kind of game.
I'm with you.
I would put the
Well,
Witness-
I think it's supposed to be my game.
But see, the thing is, it's not
Yeah.
supposed to be my kind of game, so that temper all of that with that.
I'd put The Witness over Super Hot. Super Hot felt more like a gimmick to me. The Witness feels more like a well-designed big game. Super Hot is, hey, this thing looks cool, and oh, what a fun gimmick. And then
Super Hot is one of the
flowers.
coolest fucking things I've ever
Super
played.
Hot.
Yeah, I think
is
when
so good.
I think it's
so
great.
fucking
I
good.
enjoyed it, but like it's a game that I played for a couple hours. I beat it, and then when I was done, it's like, okay, I guess I'm not really going to think about that much anymore.
What? I've been thinking about Super Hot
Really?
every
Like,
day.
I want to try the VR
Super
thing because
Hot.
that sounds cool.
It's fucking totally different, but still fucking rad.
I believe it's cool, but like I just felt it was kind of shallow.
It was the most disappointing game I ever beat because I finished playing it.
It's not shallow. Like there is real challenge in that game, and it's
Yeah, I
the
mean-
way it's paced out is
Getting
kind of
the
brilliant.
hidden stuff and the endless mode and Killstagram.
And even like just the dumb
This
little
all-
interstitial like
These arguments sound
chat
like
bits
style.
are good.
These sound like style arguments.
Oh, it's gonna win that too. I mean, like,
hold on
don't
now.
worry.
Yeah,
It's
let's
not
not,
like,
let's
come
not
on
pull
now.
the horse before the cart here.
I just don't think as a game there's that much going on there. And I beat it. I liked it.
It's extremely tight. I mean, look, yes, there's not a ton of things you have to keep track of, but the thing that it does, the singular focus of that game, is exceptional.
I think when you crack a puzzle or a whole series of puzzles in The Witness, the feeling you get from that is so much, there's so much more
Yeah,
there
I'm with
than
you.
when you like, oh, I threw the knife at that guy and shot him and didn't get shot.
I would say the opposite. And when I finished a puzzle in The Witness and like a fucking beacon went up and a light blasted across versus like I just threw a sword at a guy, caught his gun, figured out how to shoot that guy, dodged 3 bullets, threw my sword back across the room so I can go catch it myself. Like that felt a lot better.
And then getting to watch it back in real time and going like, that's some fucking raw shit.
I'm
I just
really
did.
good. I'm a really
And
badass dude.
I think a lot of the story stuff around it and how they present it, and how that game ends, I think is all really fucking cool. Some of that stuff does creep into style, but at the same time, like everything about that game, I think is fucking great.
As a non-binding resolution, would it be worth just going around the table and just seeing what 3 we would each all pick?
Of what
guess.
we
I
have
don't-
left?
I don't-
Yeah,
or
what we
could
have
do
left.
the-
What we have left.
We could do the cut thing.
For me, there's only one game left I care about on this list, so
which one?
I've got a couple.
The Witness. Well, I mean, because Abduction's clearly not going to make it,
So should we just take
Just
that
cut
out
it
then?
now if you're saying that, yeah.
and The Witness is the only one I care. Like, I think it's insane that Hyperlight is still on here
To
not
me,
not insane.
if it was my
compared
top
to-
3, it would be those top 3.
compared to some of the stuff we've cut.
I'm with Alex,
At this point.
but I could cut Hyperlight for Witness.
Hyperlight is a really beautiful thing, and I would feel bad about cutting it because it's just such a, I don't know. There's a very special quality to
Yeah.
that game. That's not even just like the gameplay, like just everything about, I don't know, the
Oh,
progression in that game,
the aesthetic in there, and
the
music.
aesthetic, and just like the little bits of storytelling in there are really strong.
I think reading the
in
temperature in
such
the
a
room,
minimalistic way. Too.
Yeah.
Like-
yeah, love that game.
gauging the conversations that have happened, it's Overwatch, Super Hot, and The Witness. Like,
I-
those are the things.
I like that.
I think that's what it's going to come down to here.
I'm with you, Brad.
I think so too.
I feel really strongly about Overwatch and really strongly about Super Hot.
Like,
yeah, that's where I'm at.
like I don't feel strongly about those, but there's so much support for those here that I think that's how it's going to go.
and then
Dan, would you cut Overwatch for Stardew?
I mean, Overwatch is this undeniable huge
Phenomenon,
that I loved, and like that's
Like I think Overwatch has like almost universal support here.
I mean, when I said that Stardew was going to be 1 or 2, the other one is Overwatch.
Right.
You know,
Yeah,
it's I'm not going to say cut Overwatch. You know,
Yeah.
but also don't cut Stardew Valley.
And there's a lot of people here like super hot.
But what if we cut over? No.
I would be fine with that.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's going to fly with this crowd.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Cut Hyperlight.
Yeah. I think
That's a real shame.
easily the odd man out here.
But
Unless Vinny has a strong.
I don't.
endure.
I don't feel as strongly about Hyperlight as you guys do for the Witness.
Yeah,
So,
that's kind of where I'm at.
Okay.
and like that's the same thing with Stardew Valley. Like I think it's really really rad, and like it's something that I would go play, and I probably should download and play on the plane. But like I also played a bunch of Harvest Moon, and like I like those farming things, and like that's okay.
Yeah, and again, like I said, maybe that's why it hit me so hard is I never played this genre. Like, I probably would have gotten obsessed with those games back then and realized how much Stardew took from them. So I understand that. I'm just saying that's not how it happened with me. I played this
Hey, it
for
hit
the
you
first
hard.
time.
I get
Well, I mean,
that.
Stardew Valley was a genuine phenomenon this year.
Yeah.
That game blew
You're not
the fuck
alone.
up
I
for
changed
sure.
all of my alarms to wake up in the morning to different tracks from Stardew Valley, so I felt like I was waking up in Stardew Valley every day.
That's the nerdiest thing I've ever heard, but I kind of love it.
Like that game clearly hit a lot
That's
of people.
how happy
very
that game
hard.
made me.
Yeah.
But
Like I don't dislike. I have nothing against the Witness other than like I just feel like it never gelled for me. So like I can't say like
Right.
the Witness is terrible. Like it just kind of bounced off of it. So I'm okay with that.
I played all these, and I think Superhot's the weakest.
That though,
Yeah. No, that, you and me are going to throw hands.
Insane.
And I liked it a lot.
that's what it comes down to here is that Overwatch is not going anywhere. I don't
No,
think
it's
the
not.
Witness is going anywhere, and there's way more support for Super Hot here than Stardew.
Super hot rules.
Super Hot was one of those games that I played and like just wanted to run and show everybody.
That's it. When
Yeah.
they did that first Kickstarter video showing just like what the game was, I remember running around the Game Informer office being like, "Look at this shit! This looks awesome." So yeah, I'm with you.
And you were right.
I know
Holy shit.
it is awesome.
Best debut, best moment, best style. It just fucking racks them up.
I think there are other
Best
categories.
VR offshoot. Is that a category? Because let me tell you guys. Fucking super.
I'm
VR
okay
is
with-
fucking crazy.
I'm okay with Stardew going.
I got it highlighted. I got to figure out a button.
I'm not going to win this one, I can tell, but
Here we go.
you're all making a mistake.
It's
We've certainly made them before.
it's near the top of the list.
This is the first mistake.
We'll make
I think.
more after this.
I think for debut I would pick Overwatch.
It's
Yeah.
Overwatch.
It's
It totally
Overwatch.
is.
That's fine.
All right. Yeah, I guess I won't fight that.
But let me talk about
not-
Super Hot. Holy shit, that game's fucking good.
I should have known from the way that nobody was even talking about Overwatch that
Yeah.
it was just going to win.
Yeah,
because
Evan.
nobody, yeah.
Well, I mean, let's just say the piece for it, which is that, Blizzard came out with quite possibly one of the very best multiplayer games in years, just in terms of accessibility, excitement, like just
personality.
personality.
And I think it says something to it's a crowded genre, and like they came out and it's Blizzard, so they they're an 800-pound gorilla, right?
Right.
They can do whatever they want. But the game was like fairly balanced. Like they've done their patches and they've tweaked stuff, but like I don't think that's an easy thing to do.
Whatever
They're
fucking Bastion
constantly
player.
doing that. They're constantly
Nobody
saying
plays
that.
Bastion anymore.
Thank you.
Congratulations to Team Fortress 3
There you
for
go.
winning best debut.
You did it.
All right.
Overwatch rules.
Yeah, so
It's-
that's
great.
I guess we have settled the category for best debut with the winner being Overwatch.
Let me say one more thing with Overwatch in this category.
No, it already won, man. We can move on as
one
people.
one of the things I really appreciate is they surface all the positive things from a match.
I like that.
And that I think was what kept me playing.
Yeah,
Overwatch.
it's a big feel good game.
Yes.
It's so smart. Every aspect of that
Yes.
game, so smart.
Yes.
I noticed that when I was playing Infinite Warfare multiplayer, like I'd be having a bad round and look at the scoreboard and be like, "God, I died that many times. I
Yeah, you
suck."
killed the
Fucking
Jackson.
KDR is in the toilet.
Yeah, whereas like Overwatch, it's like, "Oh, I'm on fire. Oh, look at all. I got gold medal. Cool." Like
Yeah.
it works. It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a really smart move.
Yeah.
All right. Overwatch is the best debut with Super Hot and The Witness trailing behind. Which brings us to the hottest mess,
Oh boy.
which is kind of, I guess, what the name implies. Just the biggest fiasco.
Yeah. You know, this is larger than a game. This is a game's lifespan or duration. Things that happened to a game this year. Things that happened to companies. In some cases, things that
Within the
people
industry,
did this
right.
year. Yeah, industry happenings. So this is everything from like a game launching completely broken to this year's like political business. You know, like this is it's never been wider. At least our short list here for this category has never been wider. It's hardware, software, kind of everything.
Yeah.
Have we considered the possibility of just putting 2016 on this list?
I'm not,
It's a little broad.
I mean,
I'm just saying.
write it down.
It's not
You know,
wrong.
It's a little broad.
yeah,
There are a lot of good
I
things.
mean, I will say that this is probably the longest this list has ever been.
That's fair.
If you want to use that as a way to feel all right about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, shall we go through this?
Yeah.
Sure.
I'll read what's on this list, and then we will whittle it down. No Man's Sky, Street Fighter V, Recore, EA's E3 press conference.
Yeah.
It's not so much the press conferences; it is the thing after.
Well,
the
I'm
post-game.
counting that as
Yeah.
part,
Okay.
of, a part,
All
of,
right.
part of that whole show.
because that was like their after show.
Yeah, but it was
Yeah.
part of the same stream.
It was the after party.
But this is the category for Weed 3.
Yeah. Yes.
PlayStation VR, PlayStation 4 Pro, the Oculus Rift launch, Palmer Lucky, Forza Horizon 3, I guess.
Specifically on PC.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Right.
you've got PC in parentheses here. Tom Clancy's The Division, Hawken on PS4, the NES Classic Edition, Mighty Number 9, and the Homefront The Revolution.
I don't really know why Homefront's on there. Like, it's not
Yeah, I
a
don't
good
know.
game,
It's just
but
a crappy game. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did anyone expect the sequel to Homefront
No,
to be
I mean
any
like
good?
the
Yeah.
development changed hands. Like you know that was a
Yeah.
messy path to market.
Yeah.
But like
There was-
like most of that mess probably happened last year.
I think there was a minute early on where we looked at what that was going to be and thought like, nah, that might be kind of cool, but then like
for a brief second, it looked like they were just going to make a Crisis game.
Yeah.
right, it looked like a Crisis in an urban kind of
Yeah.
like a war zone.
there are like one or two cool things in that game, but everything else is just kind
Boy.
of a mess.
Yeah.
Did
But
we
not a hot mess.
No, not hot enough anyway.
Did we put on the Battlefield 1 social media stuff?
Oh, the onesie?
Yeah, I mean, at some point, it's just like EA social media,
Tone deaf.
Yes.
the F1.
There was the Battlefield onesie, there were a bunch of the tweets coming out.
I'm just gonna write hashtag respectful because that's what that was.
It was.
Yeah.
What was the deal with Hawk and PS4?
It was just fucking
right?
Like, yeah, the performance on it is the sort of thing that you're like, how does this get
That's a bummer.
past
No joke,
anyone? We should cut it.
Okay.
It was just something
Yeah,
that
it was a very
as
bad
we were
port.
building this list, I was like, oh right, that damn thing.
God, I was so.
That could have been a
by
different kind of story because like
Yep.
Hawkins not a bad game.
No, not at all. I think it's pretty
kinda
cool.
cool.
Yeah.
Is retail availability with NES Classic Edition? I mean, I don't know if that stands
I
up
might,
to...
I might load in like controller.
I was going to
cables
say
Yeah,
controller
yeah.
cables.
and
Yeah, I mean, there are things that are really bad design decisions with
Yeah.
that thing, but compared to some of the other stuff on here,
I don't
not
think,
as substantial.
I don't think it'll hold. So
Yeah.
sure.
That's fine.
The PS4 Pro. It seems okay.
It's a pretty soft mess compared
Yeah.
to some of the
Yes.
stuff. Like
seems more underwhelming. Than
It's
a
like
mess.
it's
Yeah.
like weird. It's hard to get the information the way you
Yeah.
want it. It's like
right. Some of the games for OG PS4 not running as well. On
Yeah.
the Pro.
There was
It's
that.
inconsistent kind
And
of
yeah,
across the
like-
board
like just
with
having to-
some of the games.
having to dig through Google to even figure out if a given game supports it at all, and if so, what
Okay.
it does, and like just
And also like some games at 1080p running worse on a
yes,
Pro.
yes, like they did a terrible job of convincing people why they should go buy another PS4 3 years after it came out.
I also feel like at least half the problems around that thing are just emblematic of the current nebulous state of the 4K television industry
yeah, but
right
I mean
now.
that's still on them for putting
It
out
is.
a product that emphasizes that stuff and
It kinda
not
sells me on it.
not telling a good story.
I think they could have been better with information about what the games do and why
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
all that sort of stuff. Instead, it's like as much as they are doing great work, people shouldn't have to go to Digital Foundry to go like, what is this doing?
Assuming they even do a breakdown of a given game. Like
Right.
there are plenty of games out there right now that you still don't know if it supports
I
it
mean,
or
maybe
not.
keep this on here. I mean, also it doesn't have a Blu-ray.
I don't
player.
think so.
I don't think.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
also
the
didn't
4K
have
Blu-ray.
didn't have the Blu-ray. I mean, it's not a great situation.
Get ready for nothing to have a Blu-ray player soon enough.
But who knows? Like that thing next year, could totally prove its worth.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's like I think there are definitely rough spots around the Pro, but I don't think it's one of the 3 hottest messes of the year either.
Yeah.
Like I feel like what we just said is enough. Like
Yeah, it
get
also
that
seems
out
like
and we
it's
can move
delivering a
on.
lot
Yeah.
on what they promised.
I'm gonna propose that Street Fighter is probably
That's a big one, I think.
one of the 3.
Yes.
Yeah, I think No Man's Sky and Street Fighter
Yes.
5 are on this list,
Yes.
and
I agree.
we're picking a third.
I agree with that.
I think isn't the recourse stuff like I understand the things about
Yeah.
cut stuff and everything, but isn't that more disappointing?
That's probably a better place to really
Disappointing / bad game,
talk
perhaps.
about Recore.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah,
Yeah.
that's
There was not much fiasco around that.
Yeah,
I mean,
no
there
one
was-
really gave a
it's-
shit.
yeah.
You know?
there was a little bit of stuff with Microsoft getting a little bit. I hesitate to use the word pissy, but like there was some.
There was a bit of crankiness.
There were some illusions around that game getting bad scores and like acting like it deserved better or something.
Well,
I mean,
I agree that Recore deserved better, but it deserved better from the people that were putting it out, not the people reviewing
I'm
it.
with you. That game had a lot of potential. and
Yeah,
it was
there
not-
are some really cool, awesome ideas in Recore
Yeah,
that are so not. Yeah,
It should have been better.
We'll talk about it when we get to disappointing.
It wasn't
games,
a mess.
'cause
It was pretty much all contained in the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, as someone that played Forza on PC and didn't really run into issues, what was the big mess? with that?
It was very poorly optimized,
Yeah.
and just like it was a lot of people going like, "I've got this PC, what's it do for
Yeah.
you?" And other
Yeah.
people going like, "I've got a similar configuration and it's fucked." And, you know, like there was just a lot of
There is a lot of that just in PC gaming in
Yeah,
general.
like, I don't-
this was maybe an extreme case,
Right.
and also it was a highlight for being like one of the Play Anywhere games and
Yeah.
stuff.
Yes.
Like it was kind of a new focus for Microsoft.
I think that made it worse, but yeah, it's also it's not that much worse than
for
your-
some of the same reasons we would cut Hawken.
And I think
and also they've ironed it out to a
Yeah.
certain extent, so it's kind of not that big a deal.
Good.
Yeah.
And I think The Division it had a messy launch. There were definitely problems with that game, not kind of ongoing for a while. And there was some
less
stuff
the launch,
that
and
broke.
it was the stuff along the way. It was the updates they had,
Yeah.
and the changes they made the game kind of worse in some ways, more confusing in others. It was they had they had issues.
but I don't
the
think it
fact that-
ranks.
The fact that we're 8 months or something after it came out, and there's still not really much of an end game is kind of crazy.
Yeah, they added that survival mode, and that's actually like neat. But they that's because they pushed it back to fucking fix it, and like in some ways, good on them for doing that.
Yeah.
And I think that like a move like that is what lets them actually get away with making a sequel to it someday.
Yeah.
Because they do seem to really care about the longevity of it to a certain to more than some other games, I would say. So, but I don't think it necessarily makes it. Yeah.
I think yes. Let's just call it what it is. The post E3 EA thing was
It's beautiful.
it was a huge, massive trash fire.
kind
but
of a fun
it
mess.
was
It was
glorious.
hilarious.
That's a hot mess
and-
in kind of the traditional sense of
Yeah.
just like,
Yeah.
look at this fucking mess.
It was a
Oh,
sloppy,
boy.
stoned ass mess.
Yeah.
Snoop
Best
Dogg,
debut.
Snoop Dogg smoking a joint,
Zac Efron.
And then in the next shot,
standing
not
at a
having it,
kiosk,
running
playing
into a wall.
Battlefield 1.
Like that's yes, that was
kinda-
the mark of a company that maybe
my
doesn't run a lot of their own live streams.
One of my
They're
favorite
like, wait,
E3 moments this
Yeah.
year.
Yeah,
we
like
still
it's-
have a best moment category.
It's actually
best moment or sequence, Zac Efron and Jamie Foxx.
It's kind of hard to knock this actually. 'cause
Yeah, I loved it.
It was the most. It launched Weed 3 for us.
Yeah.
Like that was such
Yeah.
a big thing for us this year.
one of the more memorable moments. Of
How could we
E3.
be mad at it?
If Hottest Mess was a positive category,
Yes.
this would win.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think it belongs on here.
Yeah.
All right, I'll take that off.
All right, now we're getting into some
I'm
real
just happy to
messes.
talk about
Yes,
that
yes.
anytime.
Like Mighty Number 9 is not a great game or even a good game.
I mean, how they handled the launch.
Yeah,
that
the
stream
lead- the
afterwards when they
developers
were
like
like,
back and
It has just been one like massive speed bump after another for that thing, and then the end result is still that shit ass game.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, and I guess the fact that they were saying on a stream, like I forget what the language was, but it was something along the lines of like
we're sorry.
we did what we could, or this is
Yeah.
the best we
it
could
was
do,
like
or
Ben
like
Judd said something, I think is what it was, and he was just like, well, it's sometimes you get nothing at all. The exact
Yeah.
quote escapes me, but there was
Mighty Number 9 is going to be held up as one of the the caution cases
Yeah,
from
it
here
is.
on out for crowdfunding video games, especially ones from
yeah.
big designers.
yeah, definitely.
Like
It's
that,
one of the first really high-profile
Yeah.
ones.
One of
Okay.
them, yeah.
all right.
I mean, like out of Japan, like
Yes.
yeah, there are
As
ways
far as
to
like,
skew
hey,
to
remember
make
that old
right,
game?
but-
Well, we got the old guys, and they're making a new one of those.
Yes,
Right.
Yes, yeah.
Maybe when you put it that way, maybe it
There was a lot that went wrong with
Yeah.
that.
Maybe it does potentially rate.
Yeah.
Even that campaign was really
Oh
weird.
yeah.
It's not a good.
Let's just leave it for now.
I think the EA Battlefield 1 stuff, they course corrected pretty quickly.
No, they kept fucking this up over
They
and over
did.
again. They course corrected by deleting the tweets when
They
people
deleted
went
the
like,
tweets.
"Hey, you dumbass!"
And then they did it again when
Yeah.
they were doing like the fucking
I
squad goals shit with the
well,
like,
I think that came first, and
yeah.
the
No, it was
the
the
Peter Moore
onesie was
thing
first.
was after. Okay,
the onesie was first. Then there was the weekend of bad tweets of bad hashtags.
yeah, like what the fuck?
Look, their
Just
whole social
World
media
War I
strategy was
things.
trash.
Yeah, yeah, but it's not
one of these.
Not one of the top 3.
All right, I'll take that off.
All right, so the Palmer Lucky stuff.
Let's just get to it.
Wow.
So this one's weird because it's a man expressing his political views,
Yeah.
and even if we may strongly disagree with those views and may think that like the way he chose to express those views was maybe completely fucking stupid,
It goes beyond stupid.
yeah, okay, yeah, it does, yes, but in terms of like, well, I don't know, like
It caused a hot mess.
It caused a hot mess.
Yep.
They basically disappeared him.
Well, I mean, let's talk about the build up to that too, because before,
I think he himself is a hot mess.
yeah, before they shoved that dude in a broom closet, like there was also the stuff with the ZeniMax lawsuit starting to come out,
Sure,
and like
sure.
information that started building up around that about like them straight up challenging the entire narrative around Palmer Luckey and his invention of that device and all that stuff. And whether you take that at face value or not, like there's no way of knowing until that shit bears out in court.
Right.
But that kind of started this downward spiral that could not
Yeah.
have flamed out in a harder fucking way.
Right? Yeah. The only thing I would say is that Oculus, the company, managed to get away from it.
which is
in a
pretty
really-
commendable.
in a-
actually.
Well, I would say in a really
surprising.
kind of dicey way too. Like
Yeah.
they didn't get away from it so much as they just fucking put a bubble around themselves as we're not talking about this.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And like they never, like, even though they kind of caught him in saying some things that were definitely not true, from the looks of things, like they were still like, oh, well, I'm glad Palmer spoke his piece. And yeah, okay, let's move on. Yeah. And then they had their developer event that he did not attend.
And apparently some PR people got very testy when people were asking where he
for sure.
was.
Yeah, which, like valid questions for sure. Yeah, so I don't know. I feel like they did enough to stem the tide of developers leaving their platform.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
I mean, I mean that's just like I'm kind of just like walking through this. I'm not necessarily saying like this is not the end of this sentence isn't
Yeah.
and we should cut it.
Right.
The end of this sentence is like this could have been worse.
But like, is Hottest Mess supposed to be something that is just very wide reaching? Because like,
It
if
can
you,
be.
if you
And
bring up to an average gamer the No Man's Sky fiasco, they're gonna be like, oh yeah, that was fucked. But how far did this stuff go?
We're not saying like that this wins a category.
Oh, I know.
We're not-
I'm
it
just
doesn't-
saying-
we don't need to compare it to No Man's Sky.
But I'm just saying that the idea of Hottest Mess,
Yeah.
does that mean it turned into this fiasco that was wide reaching? Because I don't think outside of, Twitter and the game journalist circles and stuff, like the average gamer on the street probably hasn't even heard of this whole
these
thing.
are our awards. I don't give a
Yeah.
shit.
Okay.
Like,
And-
that's
And the reality is that if you wrap it all up into what Oculus Rift experienced in 2016, the Oculus Rift experience in 2016 was definitely one of the hottest messes of the year.
Well, but we have those broken out here because
I'm not sure
the
that
launch of the Rift was a separate thing.
Yeah.
Where they
Yeah.
failed to fulfill a bunch of pre-orders for weeks on end.
and then they got it down. Like,
You mean,
like
what do you mean, fixed it?
Yeah, they
Or-
evenally got to a point where like you order a Rift and it shows up.
Oh yeah,
Like,
yeah,
it's,
sure.
you know,
It was just-
Eventually, yeah.
It was for the people who supported them earliest with pre-orders
Yeah.
to
No,
kind
they-
of
Yeah,
get
and
the
they-
short end of the
yeah.
stick.
Well,
Well,
they
especially
canceled some
when-
pre-orders, and then all of a sudden, big
Yeah.
box retailers are having.
yeah, that was the
shelves
worst
and-
part was that demo units started showing up in retail. Yeah.
But people who had pre-ordered weeks or months ago were watching people like go to stores and
Yeah.
buy it
and
when they didn't have their
They
units.
gave them out to Kickstarter backers for free, but then it sounds like in a lot of cases the people that got those free ones got the ones with like the wrong lenses and the units that they probably weren't going to sell anyway or whatever it was. Yeah, that stuff was certainly a mess, but like much like some of these games that were poorly optimized at launch, like that aspect of it went away.
Yeah.
Like it was a fucking hot mess there for a while.
Sure.
But also I think it's like it's separate from like, yeah, you're right to bring, I think, some of that lawsuit stuff into this. Because like, like whatever we say about Palmer Luckey, like I think it's got to be more than like just he expressed his views about politics in a really poor way, and he like was very dodgy. Like that's so external to the game stuff that it's like kind of a weird thing to even be talking about here. But with the way that Oculus kind of spun around it, and the way that he has just poofed off the planet and not been on Twitter since, like that's the sort of stuff that I look at and go like, this is still a very hot mess. Hotter than Mighty Number 9 for sure.
All right, I'll take Mighty Number 9.
I honestly, I think for me, it's No Man's Sky, it's Street Fighter V, and it's the unmaking of Palmer Luckey.
I think you're probably right. I'll say that like PlayStation VR, I think has been more of a disappointment than a mess. Because of the potential in them having this really strong software lineup and then hardware that like just has not lived up to that software.
But it's been so inconsistent because even I from day to day have had different experiences with PlayStation VR.
Yeah,
like some days it works really well and some days not so much.
Yeah,
so I and it's not like they failed to get units to people or something. Like the launch happened, it rolled out. People seem generally pretty happy with it.
I think compared to this list, like if you were to say No Man's Sky, you'd pretty much get everybody being like, yeah. If you were to say Street Fighter V, anybody who's played it would be like, yeah. If you were to say PlayStation VR, you might get some people being like, what?
Wait, what was wrong with it? Yeah, that's kind of how I feel. Yeah.
And like I feel the same way about Palmer Luckey. Like even no matter what side you might even fall on that politically, you can look at that and be like, yeah, that kind of was a mess. Like it didn't come out cleanly.
Like in terms of being a PR fiasco or whatever, just like a thing a company has to deal with.
It became like the dominating story about like the Oculus Rift for a good chunk of time. Like, and that's, I think it's like interesting that they have managed to get to this point where they're launching the Oculus Touch and that stuff is not coming up in the same frequency at the same rate that it was.
But you damaged your face of your company.
Yep.
Yeah, your boy Genius that was like the entire like framing for like, why the Oculus was a special and interesting thing.
He was on the cover of Time magazine.
Yeah.
And then was then getting torn apart.
Yeah.
And like that's just not a good look. Like no matter what side politically you want to say, whether it was like had any impact on political stuff or not, on a company wide level,
well,
like, and a product wide level, like it just
the potential reverberations around a multi-billion-dollar industry were high.
Yes,
it seems like
a new one.
A burgeoning one, and it seems like maybe that wall won't come tumbling down. But man, it was dicey.
I mean, up to that point, the worst thing you could say about Oculus was the fact that their launch was bad. Like they didn't get units out to people and whatever.
And that the Vive was a more capable piece of hardware because of including the controllers out of the box.
But then, by the time...
So like developer momentum had already kind of started going away from Oculus at that point.
But again, the entire framing device you used for this hardware was this person who invented this on his own, and and that got challenged. And then you have this person that he was out there doing the PR work for your company and just being your face of this device, and then suddenly he became so fucking toxic within a 24-hour period that you had to mothball him.
Yeah, and he is still there today. Like that's
you being like Oculus PR.
Yeah.
Well, the executive, the people who were actually on the ground making decisions at that company,
whoever made those calls.
Yeah, that's that is huge. To go from like, this is the person we're trotting out as the face of this thing to now like, okay, we can't touch. Like that's the thing I wonder now is like, is there a cool down on that?
I don't know.
Do they eventually pull him back out? Or were they already going like, maybe he's not the guy anymore anyway, and this is just like, well, we were going to maybe do this anyway. And now they just have a fantastic.
It never ended. It never ended.
So.
It just got tucked away. There was never like all the stuff he got caught in trying to like kind of backpedal on it. Never resolved. It just stopped.
Yeah,
and
because there was no good resolution for it.
So like it just like so if he ever came back out, it's not like
good, you're back. We have some questions for you.
Yeah.
About this compared to this and compared to this. I think that is a bigger mess.
He never just got up there and was like, yeah, fuck yeah, I did it.
Right. That would almost be...
Right. Just like
him trying to hedge by saying, "Oh, I'm voting for Gary Johnson. I think that's the way that it's like that was going to fucking solve it."
And maybe he did. Like,
I don't care.
It doesn't matter.
I don't really give a fuck who he voted for. Like in the end, it comes down to the shit he was supporting was at the very least tacitly associated with some truly abhorrent stuff.
Yep.
Truly.
but then it's just kind of like waffling back and forth and like I didn't do that, and it was like, well, yeah, it looks
It's like, no,
thing.
this is you saying you did this, and
then
you're like,
it
wait
just
a minute,
went away.
Yeah.
And so like I don't know, it feels like it never really stopped being a hot mess.
No.
Yeah, I mean, he will certainly have some questions to answer. should
Even
he
No
ever
Man's
surface.
Sky put out a patch to spoke finally to
Yes.
come out and say, hey, we have more on our game.
Well, all right. So is that the list?
I think it is.
No Man's Sky, Street Fighter V, and then which of these two Oculus things?
I think
It's not the launch.
It's
or,
Palmer.
or do you just
Yeah.
want to combine it all into?
No,
Oculus?
I don't think it's combinable.
I think the unmaking of Palmer Lucky is the overall thing for that.
Okay.
But man, No Man's Sky.
Yeah, that.
Fuck.
Well,
man.
what do we want to say about Street Fighter?
Let's just frame
I mean,
that.
Street Fighter was
we've talked
pretty
about it.
fucking messy.
Yeah, it was certainly at launch. It launched without a lot of core features.
Yeah.
They have tried to right that ship, and they have patched in the cinematic story mode or whatever. They've made right on a lot of stuff, but they continue to charge a shit ton for the DLC.
Yeah.
Most recently, they installed a rootkit
Yeah.
with their PC updates.
That's the thing. I think the thing about Street Fighter is that it was like every month a new problem.
There was there was
It's not-
there was a new hot mess for
launch-
them to contend with.
the
And-
launch, like what was on the disc when they launched it, people were incredibly disappointed with.
Yeah, the general populace, I think.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I can say overall, everyone was mildly disappointed.
Yeah.
But there were certainly some people that were just like, "What the fuck? You don't have a story mode?
I mean,
Why did
obviously-
you put this game out?"
Obviously, the Evo
until it
crowd
was
is
completely finished.
Evo crowd is happy with the tournament portion of the game, just the
For the most-
core
yeah,
fighting.
for the
stuff.
most
Well,
part.
Even
I mean,
they
there's
seem
still
to be
some-
hedging.
Okay,
Yeah,
if you're hang on, if you're telling me now that even like the tournament scene is not super happy with
I see
Street
a lot
Fighter,
of people
then
pining for Street Fighter 4 for sure. And there's
that-
some there's like
You
8
saw it at
frames
Evo.
of input lag.
That seemed like
some
the
pro
one-
players
yeah,
are really hung up on.
Well,
that.
and on top of that, it's just like the way the characters are currently balanced. Like you saw it at Evo, there are like 4 characters everyone plays, and everyone else seems kind of forgotten about.
I don't. Well, I think that's true in a lot of fighting games. It's
even-
super hard to balance. Stuff,
I mean,
especially in this early in the life cycle of the game. There's,
Yeah.
and there's still not a ton of
Yeah,
characters.
like that. That's not unheard of.
Yeah.
You know, that's maybe not.
I guess so.
Maybe not
I,
perfect.
I wouldn't
but
put it.
it's
I
not.
wouldn't put that in a mess.
But the bigger
category.
problems are like the functionality was missing at launch, the fact that like a bunch of
Yeah,
planned
online lobbies and
additions
stuff
either were
and-
late or didn't work right and got cut or
Yep.
whatever. The fact that the DLC is not amazing and is too expensive.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that rootkit made its way into the PC version.
God.
Certainly, and if,
Like, it's
if
just
this
like-
were like any other game,
Yeah,
I might just chalk it up as whatever.
right.
It's a fucking Street Fighter.
Like it's a numbered Street Fighter
Yeah.
game.
Yep, it is a proper Street. Well, it's
And
supposed
one
to be
that
a
came
proper.
and one that came after one of the very best of all Street Fighters.
Certainly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah, it was
it's
pretty hot mess.
It's a real
Yeah.
big fucking
Rush
shit
at the
show.
door. They continue to just like disappoint people. Even though they're making good on some stuff, I will give them that. And I do enjoy playing that game. I do.
There are aspects of it that are enjoyable.
Yeah,
I mean,
totally.
but
I
there
think
are
they
good
built a really,
characters.
really solid fighting game, and that's commendable. But just the way that they've handled
there
the
was a
release
time where I was like,
since-
man, I might try to take this a little more seriously than I
Yeah.
take other fighting games. And then just like every step of the way, it was another thing, just like a big flashing sign that said, just unplug your fight stick. Fuck this game. And by the time I saw like the 7th or 8th one of those, I was like, yeah, okay, I'm done.
I've had my
uninstalled
heart
it, like,
broken
I'm done.
far too many times. I know I'm invested. I really love Street Fighter.
And like now they're out there, like Ono was just saying a week or two ago, like, oh, we got a plan for this game through 2020. And
They
it's
have,
just like,
they have
fucking
absolutely
what?
painted themselves into a corner with this because of all the additions of 4 that came out and the
Yeah.
backlash that they got from that. They're like, okay, this is our new platform that we're gonna we're gonna have one disc, and you'll download everything else.
Yeah.
But man, it seems like we gotta step back and maybe rethink how we're
No,
gonna go forward. with
instead
Street
they
Fighter
they will just go forward with Street Fighter V as best they can to make good on that. However
That's
they
a
can.
flagship though. Like
I mean, Street
Well,
Fighter went away for a long time before.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And a lot of Marvel games came out along that in that time frame. Alpha.
I'm talking
like-
talking like fighting game franchises.
Yeah.
Like that is certainly their flagship. And I don't know that Marvel
Yeah.
was particularly great commercially for them.
No,
Right.
yeah, it isn't. It isn't. Like depending on which segment and stuff. But
Exactly.
But maybe this eventually leads to Street Fighter Alpha 4.
Okay.
Maybe
Yeah.
that's how
Okay, all right.
Maybe that's how they unfuck
From the
this.
ashes.
It's like, hey,
Yeah.
we're gonna keep putting out stages and costumes and stuff for Street Fighter V till through Ono's 2020.
Yep. Keep
Sure,
doing that. But let's
But hey,
maybe let's
what
bring back some
about
other
Alpha?
stuff.
Well, yeah, what about Darkstalker? Like, if anything, this like gives them incentive to have some jingly keys over here to make you forget. Which is why like
I'm okay with that as long as those fighting games, are just
good.
fun and,
Totally,
and
right.
fleeting.
Mhm.
They don't need to be that pillar. They don't need to be that cornerstone of.
But at the same
Capcom.
time, that cornerstone is missing right now because of the way Street Fighter V
It's-
is. So
it's
like,
cracking, it's
that's,
wobbly.
They
For sure.
Yep.
Right, like if they can't maintain their fighting game business with a fucking new Street Fighter, like what do they have?
Yeah.
One that they kind of rekindled with Street Fighter 4.
Right.
Right. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
They've always got Monster Hunter. It's fine.
Ah,
They're good.
So I think
Sure.
we're all in agreement that Street Fighter V is on here. It is not the winner probably of this category compared to the other two.
I feel like the pattern I am observing this year is that the thing nobody really wants to come out and talk about is the thing everybody thinks
It's
is
just so
win.
obvious.
I mean, No Man's Sky is a huge, hot mess. And like, I do go back and forth a little bit on the Palmer stuff just because it's a little more complicated.
Well, I think the Palmer stuff is like a little more like real world, bigger than games.
So, like
that's the thing that makes it.
Yeah, and like I'm trying to tease my very virulent reaction for the Palmer stuff out of like how does this affect the company in VR? And I do think it is still very, very big. Like you have a lot of very good people that were working on Oculus that also got taken down in this and tarnished in it.
Well, did they? I mean, they're still there. They're still working.
But they have to suffer through that, right? Where it's
Yeah.
like, I mean, he was more than like Oculus. He was like the VR poster child, right? And
Yes.
like, okay, so
Whether
then-
he should have been or not, that's a whole other debate, but yes.
and like just how like my reaction to that versus like the bigger picture stuff, and then like No Man's Sky stuff, I didn't see too many smiley faces anywhere for that whole mess. Like it seemed like everybody was kind of just like, what is this? Like
Well,
there were some
yeah.
people that were very happy
With
maybe
what?
I don't
With
know
what, with the game.
yeah
I don't know that I don't know a single person that I would say was like jumping for joy about how
Like,
that game.
this
turned
is
out.
what I wanted this game to be. They
Yeah.
nailed it. Like that person doesn't really exist.
Well, so
yeah
I may be the person at this table that was most positive on that game. And, I will gladly concede that that is absolutely not 100%, maybe not even 75% the game that they sold, probably even less. The thing is, though, like, I don't think it's an awful game. I think it fucks up some very key things, but the core notion of exploration in that game is still an admirable thing. Like,
I don't
the
think
way
it's
they built it.
We talked about this in the last category. I think
Yeah.
I don't think it's an awful game, but
Yeah.
but in the context in which it was presented, it kind of
Yes.
is awful. Like if it had been a $20 or $30 early access game and they put out what they put out had been the thing that was the initial early access release, and they said, hey, stick with us, we got all this stuff coming over the next 2 years or whatever, like it would have gone down in a completely different way than Sony charging $60 for it and
Putting it on a
putting it
disc.
on a disc, like putting it out there like it was the infinite game, it was the game, it was the last game you would ever need.
Yes.
Putting out
And,
these
and that
trailers because it
disparity
never
is what
ends.
caused the
Yeah.
mess.
And not
Yes.
reining that in
Yes.
because it always
Yeah.
worked in their favor from a sales
Right.
perspective.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
they created this juggernaut that blew up in their face.
They-
trailers that don't resemble the game at all.
All of the build up to that game, like irrespective of how the game itself turned out, it was all the build up to it that made it so fucking awful.
Like there are kernels and there are aspects that are in even the shipping game that I think are impressive, that
Yeah.
are nice looking, that are well made and all that sort of stuff. But I came to this from the perspective of like I played a ton of Terraria, I played a fair amount of Starbound, like those sorts of games, and looking at this and going like, oh, they're making a survival game. Like okay. But then it just became like, okay, as a survival game, as an infinite survival game, there's not enough variety, there's not enough this and none of that. Like going to these planets and seeing the same like 5 prefab buildings and stuff like that is a nightmare. They
Well, it's just very
entice-
disappointing.
Well, yeah, they entice you to explore, and then you get to the next system and go, oh, it's this again.
It's
Okay.
like you can tell that the parts of that game that are the worst are definitely the parts where you felt like they were trying to build the thing they thought like a traditional gamer would want. Like these are the combat systems and like the way that they built out like the story and mission structure with all that fucking Atlas stuff. Like that's the sort of thing you're supposed to have in a video game. But the thing is, the things it does well are none of that.
Yeah.
Well, I think like if traditional survival games you put your stick in the ground and say, I'm going to build my base here and I'm going to slowly make this better to survive and survive and survive.
Yeah.
And like No Man's Sky, I mean, by design was like, leave it behind, move on to the next thing, leave it behind, move on to the next
There
thing.
wasn't a lot of permanence.
Yeah, it's like you spend time in the first system or first couple of systems going like, well, I'm gonna find all these plants and I'm gonna do all this and then you get at the third system, you're like, none of this matters because I'm never going to see it ever again.
And it really gets really hard. Like I remember I left prematurely the first system I was in, and I was like, oh, and like for some made up narrative reason in my head, I was like, that's my home system. Like this is where I belong.
where you started.
But I had bought the pre-order or whatever, so I had the hyperdrive already. I didn't have to do anything there. So like the second thing I did was just leave. And then I was like, crap, I want to go back to my home system. And it was really hard to find and had to warp to like 5 planets to find, because you're just connected to it.
I mean, I feel like that was already kind of implicit. That's maybe the one thing they actually did say up front. It's like, look, there's so much stuff in here, you're not going to be able to like go back and find your planets easily. Like that.
Well, but
I don't think that now you can.
Now they have just rolled out a patch
Yeah.
where the emphasis is exactly that.
Right.
so I'm saying by design.
Right.
Like I don't think I was fooled.
Right.
I made a mistake in maybe engaging with the systems in a way that was like counter to what I was thinking. But at some point, like the way I played that game was not the way that they designed that game. I found a second planet. I found every species. I tried to like map the entire thing.
well, keep in mind they put trophies in the PS4 version of that game for
right.
doing exactly
Okay.
that.
Yeah.
Like they did
they
do
did
it
do that.
to a
Yeah,
certain
you're right.
extent.
You earn money by doing this.
But if you take the whole thing, like even the game aside, like you said, the whole build up, and then kind of Sony, not
Enabling.
not explicitly, but kind of throwing them under the bus after launch, being like, maybe they should have been better with PR.
Like Shuhei Yoshida coming out. And
I would say
Yeah.
that's pretty explicit.
Like Sony handled a lot of obviously Sean Murray was out there doing interviews and stuff, and
Right.
that stuff was an object lesson in don't say more than you can deliver, obviously.
At
but-
any point,
but
they
it-
could have put a PR person with him and said, you need to manage this. You need to work on
Yeah.
what you're saying.
Yeah.
And they didn't.
Yeah, like Sony also handled a lot of the PR for that game. So for then one of the heads of Sony to come back around and kind of publicly call them out on that stuff was just
rough.
like, dude, like holy, like that doesn't happen. What
just
is
felt like
happening here?
That just looked like company infighting because you have the first party guy
Right.
talking mess about what is a third party game, but then it gets even muddier because they have quotes out there from people who aren't with the company anymore saying like, we're treating this like a first party game in terms of marketing push and spend and all this other stuff.
Well, yeah, just look at their E3 things. Like that was
Right.
a flagship game for multiple E3s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then them just looking tired, like Sean
Yeah.
Murray just looking. It looked like he was on a truck where the brakes were just off,
Yeah.
right? Where it's just like, oh, here we go. And then the radio silence afterward.
Yeah.
Then this patch that just dropped, and then they had a lawsuit, which I think they have been cleared of.
There wasn't a
for-
lawsuit. There was like some UK advertising board was looking into.
And then they eventually said,
Yeah,
we
they said
cleared it.
they
They cleared
cleared
it.
it.
Yeah.
maybe there was a lawsuit. I don't know.
So those charges have been dropped or whatever.
Yeah.
But like, they had that trailer up on Steam for a very long
they
time.
still do.
If it's
that
not still
trailer
up,
is still there.
which the whole thing is a pretty hot mess.
So this is maybe my one bit of reluctance to having this win is that yes, I think that a lot of the disappointment and the negative reaction to that game is justified, especially based on what it was sold on and is still in some ways being sold on if you count the trailers that are still up. That said, the thing that makes me want this to not win is the fact that reaction was so over the top, so fucking nasty, and frankly, borderline violent in some ways with the death threats and all that other shit.
I think that I think you can discount all of that stuff. Like that's
I just don't want to reward that
it's
reaction.
I don't even have to. Like for me, all of this mess is within the game I played, the way they talked about the game, and what they did prior to and post release. Going all the way back to us seeing that game for the first time just before it was announced next door to this building, and coming away from it going like, wow, that sounds like they're biting off a lot, but it actually, like what they're showing, looked really, really cool. And then and taking it on in comparison to other survival games and all that sort of stuff. What they launched, as someone who has very much enjoyed and spent hundreds of hours in some other survival games, that is a bad one of those. And I think even, well, whatever, I shouldn't say too much because I have not played the patch, but reading those patch notes, it is still one of those. Like that patch doesn't do anything to make me want to come back into that game. Kind of knowing what happens when you get to the center and see the quote unquote ending and all that other stuff. the coyness with which they spoke about multiplayer being a yes no thing, or how that exists in the world. Like, fuck the reaction, externally. Again, these are our awards.
Yeah.
I know that. I'm just saying.
Like you can, I think you can discount all of that stuff as like, hey, the internet can be a really shitty place, and it's not about rewarding them. It's not about taking any of that bullshit into consideration.
I think I just wanted to say all of that out loud
Yeah.
before we went ahead with that, because that is something that has been on my mind as I've thought about these categories and this game in particular. Because again, I think there are plenty of good reasons to be upset with that game and the developers of it, but I think that the reaction that came out of it was so over the top and so just beyond the pale that I don't know. It felt like it could have been perceived that way. So I just wanted to say all of that up front.
Yeah.
I will say, like, regardless of what you personally think about the contents of that patch, the fact that they finally put that out, and it is pretty significant. They did a lot of stuff. They did a lot of reworking.
If you want to get extra cynical, do you think they put out that first patch just before publications started thinking about their year-end awards to stave off some stuff?
Yeah, if you're going to go there.
You want to play conspiracy theory? You want to go all the way?
But I will say that at least that is a positive sign that they are trying to make good.
Oh,
In light of everything else we've said about it,
yes,
I think
totally.
I hope, like, with any luck, they will continue.
Right.
But I also had zero doubt over the months of which
Yeah.
that they would eventually address the game again.
Yeah.
That they would eventually patch some stuff in.
I am
It wasn't
hopeful.
like some people were like, "Oh, they took the money and ran." Like,
Yeah.
no, idiot.
But
That's not how this works.
But also, at the very least, the amount of stuff they put in there, I'm not a game developer, isn't something they could spin up in a month, right? Like, they've been working on that stuff for a while. Like from what,
Sure.
I'm not a developer.
And maybe
they
some of
could,
those are fundamental changes to how the game works,
or maybe it's
that-
stuff they cut out for release that they went back to. They had, I don't know, but No Man's Sky just is such a thing,
It was a big thing.
such a thing.
It's an entanglement.
And it was crafted to be that.
I still want that game.
I do too. I do too.
And even talking within, we are often criticized for being at the nicest even keeled, right?
Mm-hmm.
And even talking to Brad, you a lot about what is this game? Like, here's what this is going to be.
Yeah.
Even with that
or
expectation,
at least what I had been led to believe it was going to be.
Yeah,
like
that.
when you came back from that event and you were very much like, it's a survival game. Like, they're making one of those. It was still like, okay, well, that's cool. I like some of those. Cool, let's go.
That can be done well.
Yeah.
And being ready for people to be like, well, I guess everybody who this is not going to deliver on some of that stuff, but here's what it should do. Even with that expectation still coming in, it's still wound up being missing the mark.
Like, I don't know that I even ended up very closely following all the marketing. Like, I certainly saw the stage presentations and stuff, but
Right.
at this point, hey, games are in development, shit happens. You kind of take everything with a grain of salt at this point, because that's just how game development works. It's just the reality. Of it.
I will
But,
say
even
though
removed
that
from that,
because there have been prominent examples of this happening year after year for a while. The fact that it continued to happen again with this, like it happened with Dark Souls 2, it happened with Watch Dogs. There are multiple examples in this generation of games of being promised the moon and then not coming close to delivering that.
This is way bigger than even the Molyneux stuff.
Right.
Molyneux's been criticized for 20 years for this type of stuff.
Yeah,
they out
worse.
Molyneux.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It's like these cautionary tales have played out over and over, and especially in recent years, and it's still happened again.
I feel like we were just 5 seconds away from someone saying, "Sign the wall. It says it's not a survival game." Totally.
But at the same
it's
time,
right there with that stuff.
With that in mind, it's not like the developers at Hello Games didn't have those examples to pull from. At any point, they could have pulled back and said, look, these are the things that are changing based on what we had originally said. They could have tempered that hype at any point, and the fact is they didn't. And Sony especially did not step in at any point and help them with that stuff. I think there's a lot of complicity to go around, but in the end, they allowed that hype cycle to get up as high as it did.
Even when we got a chance to go see that game a few months before it came out, and we almost never go to preview events these days for a variety of reasons, but I was so desperate to know what the fuck that thing was that I was like, well, if you're going to let me play it, yes, I will come see it so we can have an idea. And even then, it was such a controlled environment. It was such a short period of time that we got to play.
And that was a Sony run event,
That was a Sony event. You barely had 30 minutes to play it. You couldn't take off from the planet you were on. It was such a controlled message the whole way that the message could have been more clear and accurate.
Yeah.
And it just largely
And it's not
wasn't.
unheard of for games shown in that in that time frame prior to release are that controlled.
Sure.
Either.
So
there
it
are
was-
certainly
it was-
cases where it's like, oh well, we've only optimized this specific thing, so hey.
And that's where you end up stepping in the mud with the trying to be fair to games that aren't finished and say like, well, maybe parts of it aren't ready, so we don't know yet.
Yeah.
We can't say necessarily this is going to be bad because maybe it'll change, but
Yeah, like at best you can come away and go, well, there are promising things about it.
yeah.
I think that's a real stickiest wicket of 2016.
Yeah.
It's a real winner.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That said, as far as I know, Hello Games is in no way entangled with groups that might, at the very least, be associated with white supremacists.
That's a fair point.
And I feel like that is
Yeah.
maybe why I am leaning a little harder in the direction of Palmer Luckey. Now, I realize that in the end, the amount of chatter that has gone on around No Man's Sky probably is a lot higher than the Palmer Luckey thing.
Mm-hmm.
But the Palmer Luckey thing is the only thing on this list that made me legitimately angry.
Yeah.
Like, just as a
Yes.
human being.
Yeah. No, I am with that. It's like there is my initial reaction is to separate the politics from the game impact part of it, but I don't know that that's actually the right thing to do.
Yeah.
And
That's my feeling.
and I think it's a really hard. That's a hard one. That's a hard one. I see what you're saying. I think it's
Do we fall back on the spirit of the category?
of the hottest mess. Messes don't get much hotter than actual white supremacy.
Yes.
I think that case in some ways makes itself.
Is that your gavel?
I could go with it.
I think a lot of people will disagree with that choice, but it's where I land.
I put my cursor on the vote.
I'm still thinking.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it's it's rare that actual real world real shit leaks its way into these awards, which makes it such a unique situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, like if this category were the thing I disagree with most, it's a pretty easy one.
But yeah, you adding the context of like, yeah, that guy was the spokesperson. He was literally on the cover of Time.
Yeah.
And then all this.
In 48 hours, it was all undone.
Yeah, I guess if you take like Oculus and Facebook's actions into account.
Or lack thereof in some cases.
Well, no, I mean, like he hasn't tweeted since all this happened.
well, okay,
So, like,
yeah,
you
I guess,
know, somebody
that
at
is
Facebook,
someone's action. Yeah.
somebody at Facebook lost their shit over this. It's pretty fair to say.
That's.
I mean, there's a lot of things Facebook should probably be losing their shit over these days. That's certainly one of them.
I played Watch Dogs 2. I know.
Yeah.
I know what Facebook's really up to. Yeah. I think that's where I'd lean as well. I don't think there's any way to separate that stuff without totally just undercutting.
I don't think any single product can beat something that awful.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're measuring the mess.
And I'm saying is like I don't think any product mess can beat the mess that brought on.
Yeah. Facebook, one of the world's largest companies.
A guy who on his own is worth several hundreds of millions of dollars.
A nascent industry that, needs all the positive PR it can get.
That was already kind of teetering a little bit based on launch problems and lawsuits.
Yeah.
To have a person that was so visible suddenly disappear entirely and still not resurface.
I mean, and also like just turning this like what looked like this Wonder Kid VR future thing into a monster
Yeah.
was like that for me was like,
Or at least revealing the monster that may have been there already.
but just like holy shit,
Yeah. Yeah.
like
Yeah.
maybe VR is just dark. This whole thing is just
Spend too much
horrible.
time with the headset on, you see things. Your worldview changes.
Yeah, but that's Street Fighter story mode. You know?
Yeah,
I wanted that story mode. Come on.
Totally. I think it's Palmer Luckey.
I
All right, sounds like that's the way the room is leaning.
think I agree with that. Yeah. That's I would be all right with that.
If that hadn't come along, I mean, this would have been No Man's Sky in a walk.
Oh, totally. Yeah, absolutely. Like, it's been for months now thinking about No Man's Sky as like the continually heating up mess for a variety of reasons. But that's
Yeah, I mean, I could even go Palmer Lucky just based on how difficult it is to kind of deal with this. Like, that's a hot mess.
You mean like as a company, like how
like
they?
all of us, just like trying to like suss this out and be like, this.
I mean,
is
let's be real about this. This is a dude we have invited on our website. This is a person that we've had around us. We have, been, contributed to the promotional cycle with. And, I think on top of just being let down, like that made me super fucking angry to realize that, while we were inviting this person on, this kind of shit, these kind of machinations were going on in the background.
Yeah, and I think it's at some level we kind of cover the products, and that's kind of a separate thing. But yeah.
Yeah, but we're also a site of personalities, and when we bring someone on this site, I think that there is, at the very least, an implication that we are vouching for that person on some level, that we want to talk to this person and we want to present them to our audience.
Yeah, and you're right.
Well.
At some point, this grows bigger than like a vote, political leaning.
Yeah. Again, it's not about who he voted for. I don't give a fuck who he voted
with
for.
Actual, that's.
He threw his money behind some real abhorrent shit. Lied about it, and was disappeared for it, and left. The rest of the industry was sort of left to sort of figure out what to do with that in its wake.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Fuck that shit.
Yeah. No. Fuck that shit. That's a. You're right. It's a hard thing to even fucking suss out in the context of how we think about these awards.
Yeah.
It is, because we usually think of this stuff in such a frivolous way, and it's our way of kind of recognizing what we want to recognize, but also having some fun and just sort of
but also actually fuck this shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
And I think this is the way to say fuck this shit.
Seems like a pretty strong opinion here.
And with that,
All right.
So, all right.
Yeah, I can get behind that. I think that those actions and that thing stands the most against what I want this industry to be.
yeah.
And like No Man's Sky is kind of, you shouldn't do that. And Street Fighter stuff, it's broken shit. But the kind of divisiveness and the tone and fucking bullshit that Palmer Luckey put his money into is I want that out.
Even just compare the end result of both of those. A bad game came out, and like an entire industry was shook for a little bit,
Right.
and like the toppling of someone who was at the very pinnacle.
Yeah, I guess if you put it in terms of the reverberations of it.
And I think we're going to keep feeling those reverberations for a while, whether it's through the lawsuits or whatever else. Like, that shit ain't going away. As he has gone away, that shit ain't going away.
Sure. Yeah. That end of this will drag on.
You did make the point that like Oculus Touch is coming out and it's kind of back to business as usual for them.
Yeah. I mean, and I'll say the Oculus Touch is a quality product.
Yeah. Like from what I've seen of that thing, it seems really good.
It works well. I've been using it. It's neat.
Until the day that guy is publicly excised from that company, which at some point you figure that's probably the way it's going to go.
If it hasn't already.
And we just don't know about it.
They probably just have contracts in place they can't really fuck with.
But they're going to have to answer questions about him for a long time, and they can dig their heels in and not answer as much as they want to, but that question is not going away.
Yeah.
All right. I guess that sounds like it's settled then.
All right.
Hottest mess was the situation with Palmer Luckey and Oculus, with No Man's Sky and Street Fighter V running up. Can you say that? Running up?
Running up? Yeah, sure.
Does a runner
Bringing
up
up the rear. I don't know. Runners
does
up.
a runner up run up?
Yeah. They run up and run up.
Okay, well that's 3 categories down out of 4 for day 1. I say we take another quick break because I got to pee.
Fair enough.
Yep.
All
right, we'll be right back. Okay, we have reached our 4th and final category for the first day of Game of the Year. Jason's excited down there about best style.
It's going to be Mighty Number 9.
What is that?
Mighty Number 9 is a very stylish Mega Man-like.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, really cool level design.
I like Mega
I think
Man.
it's
Maybe I'll check it out. That
Yeah.
sounds good.
A terrific looking robot.
I love robots.
Robots are cool. We've been doing this category for like 2-3 years now, I guess. And it's like kind of a fucking weird companion to best looking game.
I think it evolved out of how we originally had best graphics technical and best graphics artistic.
Yeah, and then the whole idea when we started this site was like, fuck that, what's the best looking game?
Yeah.
And now we have gone and split them back out again.
I think it's also like, you add everything together too.
Well, yeah.
Style's not just visual.
It's not.
Right,
You're right. This category to me is like, what game's got the most tude?
It's like a jazz punk. I think is like the one that I would point to. Is
like swagger,
Okay,
attitude, style, obviously.
Games
like,
that are just cool as shit.
yes, cool.
Hotline Miami.
Hotline Miami is like the kind of
The prototype of that.
exemplary
Got confidence.
winner of this
it knows
category.
what it's doing.
Yes, yeah, confidence, cool fonts,
Cool fonts are
font-
big.
best
Cool
fonts.
Font of the year.
cool
Only the
fonts, the best kerning.
Whenever we say
Yeah.
that game has a look,
Yeah,
which we say,
or Dirt 2 menus, just like anything that gives the game
The
style.
VHS pause menus and
Yes.
stuff like Galaxy.
Yes.
Hack Mud.
Hackmud's got fucking style.
This list is
So a lot of stylish games.
all that said, this list is absurd.
It's really long.
Read it out.
Fine.
Holy shit.
I do. Well, we'll
This
get
is like
into it.
half the releases of the year.
I will read this list and then we'll start talking.
All right.
Thumper, Super Hot, Darkest Dungeon, Super Hot VR. That's not even out yet.
It will be by the time
We don't even have the full game, man. Come on. Watch Dogs 2, Virginia, Mafia 3, No Man's Sky, Devil Daggers, Pony Island, Trackmania Turbo, Tokyo Mirage Sessions FE, The Tomorrow Children, Abzu, Bound, Headlander, Quadrilateral Cowboy, Inside, Hyper Light Drifter, The Witness, Firewatch, Rhythm Heaven Megamix, Oxenfree, Civilization 6, Doom.
Pardon me, Sid Meier's Civilization
okay.
6.
Stay on brand here. Overwatch, Job Simulator, Armello. Did that even come out this year? Mm-hmm. Paper Mario Color Splash, Res Infinite, Mother Russia Bleeds, Metro Plus Blasters, Heroines Infinite Duel, Fury, Dishonored 2, Pocket Card Jockey, Attack on Titan, Hack Mud, House of the Dying Sun, Samorost 3,
Yeah, you don't remember that game?
Mario and Sonic at the Rio 2016 Olympic Games.
Okay.
That's more Most Beauty, I think, for that last one.
Yes, and this
Majesty.
This is the hyper specific thing we are talking about. Is the horse dressage?
Wario on a horse.
I was thinking more the
dressage.
the
dancing
dressage,
thing?
Yeah.
Dressage.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, the dancing thing. I'm also
that
getting
too, yes.
breaking news that Armello is disqualified.
Okay.
Oh,
The 2015.
okay.
Okay.
I
All
didn't
right.
think that was this year.
Problem solved.
So Mario and Sonic can go now that we've made that joke.
Okay.
What joke?
Yeah.
That's some style. I mean, if you want to take
I will
off
reach across this table.
Hyper Light Drifter,
I will throttle you with my own hands. These
see Mario.
rhythmic gymnastics hands.
See,
I'm gonna do rhythm gymnastics all over your skull.
I think we need to see how stylish that would look.
All right.
Look, I know you love Super Hot, but we don't even have the full thing of the VR yet.
Oh, Super Hot VR looks a lot like Super Hot. They're just two separate games. So I just wanted to note that they'll consume two of the three.
I see.
So don't
Yes.
don't let it come off yet. Wait till it's down to the. And
Yeah.
then be like,
Let's-
well, VR.
Super Hot VR actually, like from a style perspective, is kind of slightly different. It is different in that you get to put on a VR helmet in it to get
Okay.
to jack back into the
Okay.
game, much like the story would have you kind of come out. That there's like
Sure.
parts where you're just like, I'm picking up a floppy disk and putting it into this glowing disk drive,
that sounds
and then
cool.
grabbing this headset and pulling it down. Which I should, now that I've said that, I should say accounting that free
Yeah.
thing from Crows. Also had the whole crux of it is you putting on VR headsets in VR.
So you actually got the thing to work.
I got the thing to work a little bit better, and then 3 screens later ran into the exact same issue of not being able to grab the thing I needed to grab.
Cool.
Also, just apropos of nothing here, just because I forgot to mention this to you guys sooner. You know how that first screen of accounting just swears at you over and over again? The second one does the same thing.
Huh. Okay.
It's just a guide saying, fuck you, put that down, fuck you, fuck you, fuck. And we're like,
British
this-
guy again?
It's a different guy.
Yeah. Okay.
And it was just like the
good to
most
know.
unappealing thing. Most unappealing thing. Is that a category? Because
good to know.
accounting
Shit,
is
we just
probably,
did that category actually.
All right. Can we go back and reopen that one up?
All right.
I feel like there are a lot of.
Yeah.
A
There's
lot of
edge
games with
cases.
style.
No, there are for sure. I feel like there are a good number of games on this list though that are more kind of best looking rather than best style.
I might say something like Abzu.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
it's
I
just
agree
like-
with that.
Abzu is a good example of that.
Also, like Rhythm Heaven, yeah, it's got style, but it's the same Rhythm
It is.
Heaven
Yeah,
style.
yes,
so
totally.
I just wanted to acknowledge that game still looks
This
great.
game is-
yeah,
that
yeah.
game still is fresh.
It's cool
I would
as hell.
say.
Civ 6?
Paper Mario, I think, is more visual than style.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the same type of handmade
Okay.
paper stuff that they've done forever. So
Agreed.
it looks great.
I think Civ 6 can come off. I just wanted to like they did a different thing stylistically with how that game looks, the map design, like the way the leaders are sort of designed in that game. Like I think it's a cool look. I
Do they
think
wear cool clothes? Like what is?
Yeah,
that?
they got
All
some
right.
cool clothes. They got weird cartoon heads. The animation in that game's got some fun style to it, but I don't think it hangs.
The map is also
yeah,
very
the map
cool.
looks rad, but I don't think it hangs.
Dishonored 2, we could probably cut. Like,
Okay.
you
Yeah,
know,
I was going to
more
mention
visual.
like that one is that's one with like
They
great-
did that in the first game.
great-
I think
great
they
art
do
design.
it effectively, man. I'd like
There's
looking at
and
that
there's
world.
kind of nothing else quite like
Yeah,
it.
Yes.
they do their
but
own
yeah.
thing, and I think they do it really well.
But again, that's more art design. That I feel like that's
Yeah.
more of a best looking thing.
Not a lot of swagger.
I think
going on in Dishonored 2.
I think Watch Dogs pulls off its style better than any of us expected it to, but up against all this other stuff. It's an open world game that looks good and has some like wacky like transition animations.
I think
and
that's
stuff,
that's
you
the
know?
stuff like the visual design of that game. I think is super effective.
Yes.
You know,
Mhm, yeah,
like
no.
the way the even the loading into a mission almost has like an ASCII art quality to it and stuff. Like you know,
And even like the characters, like the designs that we all fucking groaned at when they were showing
Yeah.
that stuff in the front, like they actually make those characters endearing
Like
and they make
hearing-
them seem cooler than they are.
Hearing you say the guy with the fucking emoticon
Yeah.
glasses,
Yeah.
like
Like
that actually goes somewhere.
they,
He isn't
they
the
make
worst.
good on that.
Kind of
yeah.
He is
impressive.
not the worst.
And so like that's the thing though is I would say the thing that makes Watch Dogs 2 not just some average throwaway open world game is its style.
yes.
So I'm not
I
quite
guess that
ready
is
to
the
give
thing.
up on that.
I
yet.
guess that is
All
the
right.
thing that separates it, among other things, from the first one. Because the first one felt kind of soulless and
was
like, yeah, you could
abstract
do all the
entirely.
hacking stuff,
Yeah.
but there was no style to the first one.
Yeah.
And this one does feel like its own thing.
They pull in their own thing, and it's not just like I think a lot. Like I think I was like groaning at it also because it looked like they were just like gonna pull in a bunch of fucking meme JPEGs
Yeah.
and say, hey, we stole these hot pings from the internet and put them up here, and like they reference some of that stuff, but it doesn't lean on it. And in some cases, it's their own spin on that style.
They do
Yes.
it sometimes where it's like, oh, now this little cat is pooping on your screen, like these little digital poops and stuff. Like there is stuff like that.
They drew that cat. They didn't.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is they didn't take
Oh,
it from
right.
a thing.
Right.
right.
You know,
okay.
They didn't just actually download a bunch of rage faces and put them in there. They at least
and-
made their own spin on it.
They made their own rage face.
They
to be
did make
honest,
their own
in
rage
that one-
face.
in that one case. But like they've made that stuff work in a way that like shouldn't, honestly.
Yep.
And especially when you take into account like the first game and the way it just fucking like, oh, hack this construction sign and it's going to give you a fun phrase from the internet. Like that was the fucking most embarrassing shit in the world.
I see
And
where you,
they-
okay, now
they-
I get what you mean.
Like they have made a cool game. And that's why I would keep it here. I don't know that it will last, but it shouldn't.
I'm not ready
come
to
off
cut it
that.
yet.
You made a pretty strong argument.
Yeah.
I will say.
I think Mother Russia Bleeds can go. I realize
Visually,
it's-
I think it's really cool looking.
it is. I just also feel like it's cribbing from a lot of other games that
sure.
would normally win in this category in the past.
They made a very vicious Streets of Rage game.
Yeah.
You know, they made a Hotline Miami side-scrolling beat 'em up. You know,
Yeah.
like this. Yeah, you can that specific old but violent style has definitely been done.
and better, I think.
Yeah. Yes.
It's up there.
Yeah. It is. Yeah.
Pocket Card is very weird in a very endearing way that I very much appreciate. I don't know if style is the way to describe it. It's just fucking weird, and I like it.
I like weird.
I mean, but I don't know if it's a style thing. What do you think, Drew?
I think weirdness is tied up in
It's
style.
weird as shit.
Yeah, and it actually is kind of cohesive. Like
Yeah.
with the solitaire and the horse racing and all the weird animations and gauges and numbers and everything that go together. It all fits. I don't know if like
It's its own weird thing.
it's its own weird thing, but I'm not sure like the style part of it is what carries me.
Yeah, they are like
through it.
cartoon horses and stuff. There's
Yeah.
nothing particularly visually. I mean, it looks good.
Yeah,
But
yeah, I
it's-
don't know if it hangs. It's
Yeah,
It's a cool
it's,
game.
it's awesome though. I just like mentioning that game exists.
me too.
All right, so that's gone.
Yeah.
I'll take it
Yeah,
off
fair
the
enough.
list.
I really liked the look and the style of Pony Island, but I don't know that it'll hang.
I don't really know anything about that one.
That was the haunted arcade cabinet.
yeah.
Well,
yeah.
it's like Satan takes over an arcade cabinet.
okay.
right.
You're talking my language.
And like
Yeah.
you go into the ROMs, but there's like fucking pentagrams in the ROMs and the
So they're like
machine
puzzles as you
service
kind of
mode.
hack around Satan's hacking and all this sort of stuff. I didn't end up finishing it because
I
it
didn't either.
actually got kind of hard at one
Yeah,
point.
the puzzles get weirdly hard in that game, but it looks fucking cool.
Conceptually, that sounds amazing.
You should totally play it.
Okay, I will totally check that out.
Yeah, it's worth seeing.
Yeah,
But do you think it hangs?
it's really effective.
Look, I mean, I don't even think it hangs if this was like best use of Satan.
Okay.
You know, in a list that has
Well, I mean, look,
Doom and Devil Daggers
Yeah.
on it.
Okay,
Like,
yeah,
you know,
sure.
This is
it might be like the third.
yeah.
Yeah,
Do
all
we
right.
need another category?
Well, we'll see.
God.
We'll see.
that's
We
that's
Okay,
your, that's
but-
your,
but-
that's,
we'll
but
see.
Pony
that's
Island
your
is going.
three. That's your three right there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Headlander.
Headlander.
It nails the kind of like 70s.
I feel like
sci-fi
that's
thing
the
pretty well,
only
but-
thing that game has going for it
Yeah.
in my eyes, but I don't know that I like it.
I like its
what it
art
does
direction
enough.
and
I love it.
aesthetic.
Yeah, I love the aesthetic.
What's actually interesting about that game is that a lot of the visuals. How can I put this? The art design, like the interior design of the space station, is all 60s psychedelia. But
Like
then,
early 70s, yeah.
But then on top of that, yeah, the video effects and the computers look more 70s sci-fi. So it's this weird mix of those two styles, and also like that whole space station is like a pleasure palace for robots who like to fuck.
Sure.
Like
I can identify with that.
that's kind of what that game is. It's a weird thing.
If that ain't style, I don't know what is.
Yeah, I think the style is very much the thing that game has going for it, and I think it does it really well. I mean, it's one thing to couch it in a familiar aesthetic, sci-fi aesthetic, especially because that's certainly been done before. But I think the way that it makes that sort of tie into the kind of whimsical story that it's telling and the way that it plays, I think it all fits together really nicely.
I don't. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I agree. I think it does too. I'm not sure if it hits it hard enough to stay on this list towards the end.
I'm with you.
For
I
right
think-
now, I would like to keep it on.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Who's keeping Tokyo Mirage Sessions on?
That's probably me.
Okay.
Because that game is stylish as shit.
That's I mean, it's like
Okay.
you're fucking pop stars in that
Yes,
game, right?
it is.
It's not
it is-
fucking pop stars, but
No.
like you are fucking.
You are a fucking pop star in
Okay,
that game.
all
You
right,
are
yes,
you
yes,
are a
yes.
RPG battling pop star,
but
in
not
the-
like Final Fantasy X-2 shitty pop star. Like
No.
this is like good.
It's like the whole thing is a goddamn mess, but it is a beautiful, wonderful mess.
Is it a cohesive mess?
Yeah, I think it
Okay.
is. I don't.
'Cause
Have,
I've liked what I've seen of the game. Like it's not. I don't think that game is for me, but like certainly the visuals of it, I did appreciate.
They really go for what they're doing in a severe way, and I think they mostly nail it. Even the weird tie-in with Fire Emblem, I think, works pretty well.
Okay,
Like they
yeah.
do a good job with it.
That would have been the thing. I would have been like,
Everything in that game just looks cool as hell.
all right.
I don't think the Witness hangs here, does it? I mean, it looks great.
It's got a neat style
I
to
really
it, but-
like the look of the game.
I think it is one of the best looking games of the year, but maybe it doesn't have the swagger that some of these games have.
Yeah,
It fits for what that game is. It's kind of perfect, but I don't know.
Yeah, like well, it's probably for another category, but I sincerely think that game would not work the way it does if it didn't look the way it does.
Yeah,
Agreed.
yeah, totally.
Agreed.
But maybe it doesn't really fit here.
Yeah. What about Overwatch? I mean, it
I
looks
just-
great. It looks
It's got a-
awesome.
Yeah,
I
it's
just
great. It's got
wanted
a
to-
really good cohesive style.
Yeah, I just
Yeah.
wanted to call attention to the fact that, like, despite having all these disparate characters and everything, it all kind of feels like it
They-
fits into
yep,
a
it's a
cohesive
world,
universe.
yeah.
yeah.
I mean, and in like in this example, style to me is like that chest opening animation,
Yeah, right.
which is amazing. Like, that's probably the best chest
good.
opening animation I've seen in a game with chests.
They do a good job with that.
And like the play of the game stuff, like I don't even love Overwatch, but like the play of the game stuff is presented so well.
Yeah,
all the display, like the post match like stat shit where
Yeah.
they're saying you did this and this and this,
sound
like
effects are good.
all that stuff. Like it's
very
got
good.
it's got like a pop to it.
There's some awesome, like I was, even for the time when I was playing Overwatch, like I got kind of into just the look of the characters.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
some good ass skins in that game.
And they
Yeah.
do subtle things in the environment to actually add personality to the characters, whether it's like a concert poster for Lucio or something.
so I think that shit sucks.
Really?
Specifically
I like that
for
stuff.
Lucio, because like as soon as the characters start talking to each other, a lot of that game's cool factor disappears.
I mean, look, the writing's
really?
bad.
When it's like Lucio and I think it's like Diva, we're going to, can I get your autograph? Oh, can I come to your next concert? Like, die. Fucking die. Die.
But keep in mind that they basically set
that's
out to
another one.
make their own Saturday morning cartoon
Yeah.
style thing, and that is in keeping with that sort of vibe. And I mean, look, they made in some ways a better G.I. Joe than G.I. Joe was.
I don't know about that. Let's not be crazy here.
I'm just saying.
G.I.
that's
Joe
how
at
I
least
feel
had
about it.
a cohesive military aesthetic, whereas this is just like DJ with a dubstep gun, which, I mean, that's cool. Don't get me wrong. You could make a
which one are you
cartoon
talking
around
about?
that.
You talking about JoJo or Overwatch?
No, just I'm talking about
That's the thing.
Transformers
You don't
Blaster,
know.
turn
You
into
don't
the
know.
Tape deck and
I don't know. I think that I think the dialogue in that game. I like the voice performances, but the dialogue is real bad. But everything else, I think about it is very coherent. It's good. I also think this game will get its props elsewhere. I don't need it to.
I
I
don't
just
know.
I just wanted to call attention
I
to
could
it.
keep it on here for a bit. Like I would champion this for a style game.
Not over some of the heavy hitters in this
Yeah.
list. That's my feeling.
Wait, so wait.
I think
talking about
Overwatch should go.
Cutting Overwatch. Okay.
I think it should go from this category.
Attack on Titan, really?
They nailed the look.
Yeah, you're just fucking joking.
naked
Talk about naked anime dudes. And
naked
then
anime
cut it.
dudes.
I mean,
That's all I got.
those are
actually.
pretty stylish.
Yeah,
They are naked. Yeah, they are naked.
Does it feel as cool as the comic books or the cartoon?
The what?
The manga?
The manga. Oh, thank you.
Okay,
Yes,
all right,
the
okay,
manga.
all right. Sorry,
Yeah.
use the proper terms.
Yeah, I think they did a great job.
They
I,
did?
I didn't put it on this list, but
Okay.
I think they really nailed the look of the anime.
But did they nail the feel of the like grappling hook?
onto big giant naked
Yeah.
Like,
men?
actually,
It felt really
like
good.
I like some things about that game.
Yeah.
Okay.
because it did the feel of it is neat.
'Cause
Like,
I
it's
haven't
kinda-
played it.
It's kind of clunky and fucked up, and like it's not a great game, but like there are things about it.
Yeah.
You're like, actually,
There's something there.
as I'm inside this giant naked man's mouth,
Yeah.
it's warm and it's moist, and I'm having a, kind of an okay time.
And it looks cool while you're doing it.
yeah. Cut it from the. It's already cut.
Get it out.
It's
of here.
already cut.
It's fine. House of the Dying Sun.
What I've seen of that looks very cool.
Yeah, it's
I haven't tried it, so I don't know.
Vinny,
yeah,
you played a lot of it.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna hang here. It's kind of neat, but I don't even. It's not memorable enough to me right now to even.
The
say-
font treatment on the original name, Enemy
Enemy
Starfighter,
Starfighter.
was great.
Oh, that name was so good.
Should we just give it to that? Give it
Yes.
to the Enemy Starfighter logo. Yeah, How's the Dying Sun ended up. Well, it's wider than the style, I guess, but that the end game ended up being pretty disappointing.
It's kind of like a
for
real
me.
like dark tone to it, which is
Yeah.
pretty neat. Like a real like grindy, not grindy in the sense you got to do things over and over again.
Grinding,
like
kind of
industrial.
kind of a just a dirge.
Yeah, and like that's the universe. It's
Yeah.
almost like a Warhammer-ish
Right,
thing.
it's-
Of
yeah.
just, you know,
It's the premise of it sounds kind of nihilistic, right? It's
Yeah.
sort of just a like,
And, like,
fucking fight or die kind of thing.
that's kind of neat. Like you're
Yeah.
going to purge, you
Yeah.
know, the enemy from this, you know, place. But yeah, I think I would put Overwatch back on instead of that.
Strafe is not out yet, right?
Overwatch is not.
Okay.
there.
Strafe is not out.
Because that's got a lot of style.
Yeah, that's that. We'll talk about that next year.
You could roll right into Devil Daggers with that one.
Devil Daggers has style.
I think Devil Daggers is a strong contender here.
Devil Daggers.
Yeah, let's move on.
Yeah.
I'm not ready to cut that.
Hack mud.
There's some good looking.
Fonts again.
Text.
It's a good looking
Good-looking
terminal
mud.
window.
Some monotype.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead and cut it.
Okay.
All right.
Samurai 3. I've seen Machinarium. This seems to be
It's similar.
pretty similar.
Yeah, it's similar. I mean, it is trippy and very, very neat. I don't think it strays out of that art style.
Gotcha.
But it is extremely creative. We can take it off of here, but that is a style. That is walking through a painting. You know, that is a point and click.
I mean, that's what
walkthrough.
those guys do.
Yeah,
that's what
they
that
do.
team is all about.
It's an adventure game, point and
Yeah.
click adventure game, and it trades on style. But it won't be for everyone.
Do we think that quadrilateral cowboy stays, or just kind of
No.
like, hey, it's a Blendo game, you kind of
It
know what you're
is.
getting, and that is still a very cool style.
I think it's, at least in my, granted, the only other one of Blendo that I played was 30 Flights of Loving, which I did like, but I feel like this is the most confident one of those games that Brendan Chung and his collaborators have done. I think that I really loved what they were going for, and I think they nailed it. But I could also see the argument for it just not being as strong as the strongest entries on this list.
There are a lot of really strong ones on this
There
list.
are. That's the thing, is
Yeah.
that there's so many deep cuts to have here, and I feel less enthusiastic about fighting for Quadrilateral Cowboy than I do a lot of these other ones.
Yeah.
I think maybe I'll say Firewatch in the same vein that I said
Yes.
The Witness.
Yeah,
You
it's
know,
a
it
very,
looks good. It looks
very
great.
well
It fits.
artistic direction.
And I really
Yeah.
do like the style of it, both the pacing, like even just like the story pacing and the way that they
The
sort of
lighting.
present the character, like the Delilah and all that stuff. Like I think that's all done really well. Like I think it has a cool feel to it, but
I think that's another case of like best looking over best style
Yeah.
to me.
well, the one thing I will say for it though is that just even in the way that they use the graphics and sort of the lighting and stuff to build the tension in that game, where it's
Yeah.
like you're out in the middle of nowhere and then the light starts to go down just a little bit, and based
The way
on certain
that-
things that happen in that game that anything could kind of come around a corner.
The way the time of day is tied to the story beats is
Yes.
super cool.
Like that is worth calling out just beyond the visual quality of it.
That I definitely agree with that.
Mafia 3.
Mafia 3 is a really good pulpy revenge story that is shot and directed very well.
I feel like that's more presentation than style.
Well, no,
or is that the
presentation
same
part
thing,
absolutely
basically?
is style.
That's absolutely part of
yeah,
it.
That's absolutely part
That's
of style.
cinematography. That is
Yeah.
that's the way they build it. And even
The
little
soundtrack.
things in that game. I know it's a little more than a little one note when it comes to mission design and stuff. But like the thing that kept me going was the fact that you could do shit just like kick fucking doors in and have these mobsters like freak out and be like, what happened? And then say just pull up a shotgun and blast them out a window. The fact that every single enemy in that game is specifically programmed to find a ledge to fall off of when you shoot them. Like that kind of stuff, like the way they make those fights feel like really frenetic and crazy is rad.
The weapons in those games deliver in a way that is not realistic but satisfying.
And when you get down to like the graphical level of it, like the way they paint the sky in that game just looks foreboding and intense. And, like there's some really neat visual touches in there that go beyond just like realistic open world stuff that I think are very cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a case for that stuff, and the acting is very good.
It is.
and the cutscene stuff is really.
They
good.
really nail what they're going for with that.
Jeff, does Trackmania hang?
Yeah, I was gonna
Trackmania
say,
has
come
like
on, man.
terrific. No, dude, no. Like there's more than fucking cars to this. Like there's like
Well, I
every
know
single
that.
billboard and every single thing like has this amazing sense of style.
I guess so, but
All the double driver logos and just all the like the way they're using different languages every time you restart to do the countdown. Like it gives the game a very specific feel that I think a lot of games don't go for. I think the
Okay, but-
soundtrack ties into that really well.
maybe I haven't seen enough of it to get that stuff. Like what bums me out about it is that they lost all the ramshackle crazy shit from the PC
Totally,
versions.
yeah.
Like the
But
Quake 3 font isn't
Right.
there anymore,
That's-
and just
but-
like the
yeah, that's kind of the opposite of style,
That's a certain style.
It's a certain style, but like they made this thing to come together visually in a way that, again, I think a lot of games don't go for. Like
All right.
it harkens back to, in some ways, like Wipeout XL. Of that idea of like making good fake companies and that sort of stuff and cool logos. Like they do a lot of design, like commercial design almost along those levels. But it's like instead of like advertising company, it's like drift here, turn left, and different things like that. You paint the car and put the different decals on it, and all that looks really good. And I think all that stuff looks really good. But it is just kind of like the flat 2D stuff in that game that I think really stands out.
All right.
And I think tied to the music and all the other stuff, like it definitely, that game has a feel and a sense of cohesiveness that definitely Trackmania has never had before.
Okay,
But I think a lot of driving games
All right, that's
don't go for either. Like
that's a
again,
fairly
like,
strong
Wipeout
argument.
XL is probably the thing I would go back to for this, and that's almost unfair because I think Wipeout XL is the thing that fucking started the concept of style in modern games in some ways. That said, I don't think it's top 3.
Yeah.
Like it's
well, that is more of an argument for that than I
Yeah.
expected.
Yeah.
To be
Yeah.
honest.
it's awesome. I wish the game was better and all that blah blah blah. But like that thing tied to the soundtrack and even just like some cohesiveness, like going out like, well, we're gonna go get a bunch of stuff from Ed Banger and also like wow, like it's just that stuff's so good. But we'll talk about that when it comes to best soundtrack or whatever.
All right.
Does Inside add enough to its style to differentiate it from Limbo.
Oh, totally. It's a completely
I mean,
different
I know
looking game.
visually, obviously, there's more color and everything, and
It's more than that.
character
I mean,
design,
like
The themes of that game, while somewhat similar, go in some different directions. And I really like there's just some set pieces in that game, like even more than just their visual design, like the way. Like there were moments where I like actual jaw dropping, like holy fucking shit.
Yeah, you remember there
Yeah.
are scenes, and I mean we can get into spoiler stuff here, but there are scenes where like the upside down stuff is
Oh,
just
yeah.
like insane.
And that
It's-
that one room where like the sound pulsing just fucking
Yeah, yeah.
explodes, like if you get in the wrong spot, like
or subtle things like the cops going like into the background to go around
so
that wall.
yeah,
and
backgrounds
the
for me are a
dogs.
huge part of it because there are so many spots where they did not need to model like fucking a
Yeah.
tenth of what they did
yes.
just to like make the background feel like it goes on forever.
Yeah, it
you
seemed
know?
like
It's
trucks go in the distance.
Like
and
they
stuff,
did so
yeah.
much work on every single scene
Yeah.
to make it look like,
Like the-
like
Looks
a
awesome.
fully realized world. Like you just don't get that kind of detail in a game like
the
that.
atmosphere in that thing goes beyond just like the art direction.
Yeah.
Just the whole thing comes together.
Yeah, it takes more than that to impart a mood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think is what
Agreed.
that
Yeah,
game
like
does
it
really
is.
well.
It is probably one of the stronger senses of style here.
I think we let No Man's Sky go.
yeah.
Man, I don't know.
That's-
I think that's the one
the best
aspect
part of that
game
game.
that it does.
Well, no,
like,
it is,
really
but I don't think
fucking
it's
well.
I don't think it's
Also-
strong enough.
I think
Yeah.
that the trailers were better at conveying style
Yeah.
than the game was.
Yeah.
I think they didn't make good on like a lot of the font work and visual design that they had kind of
Really?
talked about
I
doing.
feel like when they were going around early on saying like we want to make a game that looks like the cover of an Asimov novel, and like I feel like they did.
but I think that's like stuff that you would take into like the look at the planets and stuff like that. But
and like the
about-
big freighters, like
think
when
the
you zoom
alien-
into a
But
system.
I think like the HUD elements, I don't think they look good. I don't think the icons they came up with for a lot of that stuff. I don't think that stuff looks
Some of
good.
the inventory screens
Yeah.
are not
Like,
great.
I cannot imagine it being top 3 here.
I also don't like the way the aliens look in that game. I don't think
no.
Yeah.
And the bases like just were
Yeah, you know,
so
it's
cookie
kinda
cutter.
bland.
All right. I'll give you that.
if they had even found a way to just even differentiate a little bit more between the kinds of bases that you see from one species to the next, that would be fine. But
Yeah,
it does
okay.
feel like it's just a little too recycled
That's fair.
for what I want out of that.
That's fair.
Can we cut it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think it does a good job, but
No, I look, I don't hate the style of that game at all, but I just don't think it hangs.
Job Simulator, real fun looking.
Yeah, like
I think it's more than how
kooky.
it looks. Like that game.
Yeah.
that game goes for it in a way that like you know we'll have some kind of VR category where we can talk about that stuff in more depth. I think, but you know, for me that game is like a dedication to its goofball concept.
Yes.
And like letting you get away with and exploit those goofball concepts in ways that you didn't anticipate, like making gigantic candy bars and, you know, like when you pull out someone's headlights and pour headlight juice onto it to color the headlights however you want it to be colored and put it back in. Like there's just a lot of silly stuff like that I think that, you know, the style comes together across the 4 different jobs really well.
The personality in that game is
Yeah.
real strong.
It's got a lot of yes, it's got a lot of personality.
the fucking insert monotone robot voice.
Yeah,
It's like one of the funniest things.
yeah,
You know,
they do that really well.
You're in the garage and like you fix up a guy's car and he's like, oh, great job. That's very car.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just like,
Yeah.
it's
That game has
really good
has
stuff.
a lot of style.
Should we keep it on?
we could table it.
I don't know that it's gonna make it.
yeah, this is
honestly.
still a
like this
rough
is a
list.
vicious list.
It is.
Did we decide we're cutting Firewatch?
I think we should.
I think
I thought that was the tone.
It was, like, I
think again, I think it's more of a best looking contender than a
Yeah,
style.
yeah. I just wanted to say like the things that I thought were better about it. But
yeah,
yeah,
sure.
yeah, for sure.
I don't know that Thumper hangs here.
Oh
I
man,
don't know about that.
Like
man.
parts of it are just too repetitive for me. Like the fact that you see that same boss over and over.
It builds over time. Like
guess.
they,
I
Let
don't
me
know.
let me play devil's advocate here, Brad, because Devil Daggers.
Devil
You talk
Daggers
about
is a
repetitive.
that's a different
hey,
thing.
I'm
No, that's a
way on
different
board
thing.
with Devil Daggers, but you can't say that's
Dude,
not
no,
repetitive.
that's like knocking Geometry Wars for being repetitive because those games are the same thing. Like Thumper,
what's separating Thumper
because
and
Thumper
Devil
is a
Daggers?
level-based game where every level you expect it to evolve and like
But
be
it does,
different.
though.
it really
But
does.
not nearly as significantly as I want. Like
It's not just the visuals. Like
Yeah,
and
that's-
I agree. The
I
visuals
know
don't
the music
fundamentally
is
change.
the music is a different like the whole like changing the time signature with every level is a super cool trick, but visually like it really let me down when I got to like the 4th level and I was still seeing the same stuff.
I think it goes further than that. I mean, there's stuff you see later in the game, like the way that they change up the patterns. Like when you for instance, like when you normally do boss fights early on, it's just like you have to hit these sequences, otherwise you have to repeat them.
Yeah.
At some point, it like on one level, for instance, like it actually has multiple different sequences and it randomizes them, so you can't just immediately latch on to what they're doing. Like the way that they change shit up in that game and they make it more intense.
I was gonna say that sounds more like gameplay stuff.
Yeah,
than
like
style.
that's not enough for me
Yeah.
when I felt let down as I would get to new levels and see the same stuff I had seen before.
I guess I just never felt let down by it. Like I was just glued to it every single time.
I wonder if part of that is like you seem to be playing it as a rhythm game, and I have only played it in PlayStation VR so far, and so I was playing it as a VR game and wanting this thing that was like surrounding me to like I wanted to be wowed every time I got to a new thing, and then when I kept doing the same thing, it was like at a certain point I was like, why am I doing this in VR if it's just going to look kind of the same every level?
I don't know. I think for me it just didn't bother me because I love the core aesthetic of it so much, and the sense of speed that they are able to convey while you're still creating like gameplay that is like coherent enough to understand what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, there's something about
The
Thumper.
speed and the way you slam into walls, I'll give you that stuff.
That's
like,
the
that stuff's
one
good.
thing that stands out to me about Thumper at all is actually just the way it looks when you take a turn, when you slam into those walls on the turns and stuff. I think that looks amazing,
And the fact that they weaponize dropping base.
yeah, that seems like something I should like a lot more than I ended up liking.
Yeah, like the fact that there are like 20 games still on this list, like
I know.
that makes it a tough sell for me.
I'd like to keep it on there for a little longer.
All right.
Yeah,
I don't
me
know if
too.
it'll make it to the top last 5, but there's like something about Thumper, like watching Alex play it. I could put a frame around it and put it in a gallery and be like, oh, I could just stare at this for a while and listen to it. There is something very appealing about it.
That's surprising to me. It just I didn't feel like there was that much going on to me.
Like there's other stuff on here. Like I would take Thumper over Headlander.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
Headlander.
I like
Yeah.
Headlander, but that's fine.
I think we can cut Fury. I think Fury looks
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
It's very much it's an anime thing. Like it's great soundtrack. The soundtrack
soundtrack
lends
is
a lot of style to it.
Totally.
And to be fair, that that does
really
count here.
Yeah.
I would say the way Fury moves is also a huge part of it.
Yeah,
Sure.
Yeah.
The way that dash works, the way that you are just fucking popping around the battlefield
Yep.
to dodge stuff, and like when you get in a flow in that game, like it feels as good as like a Geometry Wars or something.
Yeah.
But I don't love the look of it as enough, I think, to make it.
It doesn't stand out really
Yeah,
from
to
just
make
like anime style,
Right.
whatever. Trade-off?
Yeah, I think that can go.
Yeah,
What the
I'm
hell
fine
is
with
Nitro
that.
Plus?
It's a sweet ass anime fighting game.
Okay.
Yeah, it is.
What makes it have more style than other anime?
Super
Super
Sonico.
Sonico.
Super
Yeah,
Sonico?
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's where it's
There's
What-
a lot of
what's she
anime
do?
that happens.
It's a lot
in that
of
game.
an-
She
like you-
throws cats at you,
Yeah.
calls out her band members.
like there's a
and-
character that just like basically like a reticle appears and you're sniping characters as part of supers and stuff like that. Like it's
Is it a fighting game?
It's
Yeah.
got stuff.
Okay.
It's a 2D fighting game. It definitely has style. Also, I don't know that I would call it a cohesive style because
No.
all those characters come from like
Different
19
games and
different
stuff.
visual novels.
I'm just
So-
surprised this has lasted as long as it has.
Yeah,
I think
we
I
can
think,
cut it.
I think no one knew what to say about it.
Yeah,
Okay.
we can cut
Didn't
it.
want to hurt anyone's feelings.
Yeah.
I got you. I appreciate that.
This might be controversial. I'm just gonna say it. I think Res Infinite rules. It is also Res.
Yeah.
They made they updated Res. They made it look
Yeah.
great for the PS4.
So what you're saying is it wins? I'm not really following you.
I'm just saying.
Wait, you just said it was Res.
It is
so-
Res. It's Res.
We've seen it.
Area X is really impressive.
Area X is very different. Like the thing about Area X to me is that like we went to see it at PAX,
yeah,
and I walked into that demo room just going like, okay, they made a new res level. I'm sure they made it look like it could have come off the Dreamcast. Like it's just going to be more of that. And then you sit down and play it, and it's so different. It is so stylistically different and better and like evolved.
it's
from what Res
evolved
used
is
to
what I
be.
would say. Like that feels like they shipped Res Infinite with a Res 2 demo
Right.
on
Yes.
it.
Right. Like yes, that level feels like what a Res 2 could be if they actually get around to making one.
Yeah.
And that was super exciting to me.
I see where you're coming from. I don't necessarily oppose it.
Yeah.
And believe me, no part of me is happy to think about taking Res off this list. I can't reconcile it against. Like,
I feel like I feel like Res is maybe the best style. Yeah, like that and Wipeout XL, probably right up there actually.
Like
in
best
terms of
all-time
best
video game style.
all-time
Yeah.
style in a video game. Like I think about Res on a regular basis, way more than a person should. And I don't even not even necessarily playing it, just the concepts of it and the visual style of it and all that sort of stuff. I have a deep love of Rez that I don't even fully understand sometimes.
Yeah.
But I maybe we've got enough extenuating circumstances around it that we can feel okay about removing it.
I do think playing those old levels in VR breathes some new life into them.
Yeah.
Like seeing them in that way.
Yep.
It's
cool.
Is a new experience. Like it's even though you're playing old levels, like it does feel different.
Sure.
Yeah.
I also have to admit to myself that playing those old, like a lot of my appreciation for that stuff is kind of based on nostalgia.
I
there's
will be the first to say that I think that like the gameplay in Rez is very simple.
Yeah.
It's obviously like it's Panzer Dragoon without the ability to manually rotate.
Right,
they made a simple game, and it's not about that.
Right.
For me, it never was.
I could see it going here, even though that makes me
there
sad.
is some part of me that wants to dig in and say, as one of the best looking video games ever, if we are not disqualifying it from the awards completely by virtue of it being an old game, then it should absolutely win this and most other categories. But I don't feel good about that either. I feel like we should probably cut it with some kind of weird asterisk, but I'm not sure what the asterisk thing at the bottom is this game was old and we had seen most of its style before, what? I don't.
Can we break with tradition and give it an honorable mention?
You could call it Res Infinite Presents Best Style.
That's how I would do that.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I
like that.
I'd be okay with that.
All right.
I would actually be okay with that. That's
fine.
my trance vibrators would be okay with that.
Okay. I think Oxenfree can go.
Okay.
They set out to make a Lovecraftian young adult story, and they did a really great job with that. It has a cool look to it, and the stuff they do with sort of the bits and pieces of cosmic horror that sort of seep into it are pretty awesome. But it's just not as strong as some of these other games.
Virginia. Sell me on this.
I barely know what that game is.
I played through it a couple of nights ago.
It's for lovers.
What do you think?
I'm not super impressed with it. I mean, certainly not the story. Somebody liked David Lynch an awful lot and I went for that style. But some of the jump cuts are just a little too jarring.
So it's like
too jarring
It's
at
like
times.
Deadly Premonitions. What are you saying? What are you actually
doesn't
saying
have that
here?
kind of style to it. So definitely more like Twin Peaks, I guess, Lynchian at times.
Yeah.
But also some of the just like really absurd, like surreal stuff going on.
That stuff can get kind of crazy.
Like the story accompanying it is I think pretty weak. The soundtrack I think in particular is really good. And super effective.
And the
but
game
it might,
is cut to it.
It is, yeah.
Which is amazing.
That has been kind of cool, yeah, because it is kind of like an exploratory, not a walking simulator, but they do guide you from point to point. But
I mean, they made a mystery movie you can interact with, and
essentially.
I think I like the themes of that story. I don't like the way it's actually told through a lot of that surrealist stuff. I think it's a little too, I don't know. I think it's a little too willing to be opaque about the things that it's trying to say. And I think that, I actually don't love the look of it that much.
It's like a very minimalistic, like low poly, very just solid tones, I guess, that go throughout there. But
so the things I really like about it, I like that it is scored and cut to and edited to a soundtrack. So the gameplay. So you're walking down a hallway and there's a crescendo that'll build in the music, and it'll just jump cut to you in a car. So like you were headed to your car, and you don't need me to walk down this whole hallway.
It's cool a few times.
What if you stopped and turned around?
You start walking back the other way. The music would go up, and you'd walk back the other way. And then as soon as the beat in the music happened,
you would still
you jump to the car. Yeah, it's like that's the next scene.
Terrible.
It's the best because it's like, why do you need to walk around and explore this place?
I don't know, but what if I did?
So we'll play a different game. Go play The Witness.
Like
and go
at some
explore
point,
the island.
like I don't know how I feel about a game
places to
that's
be
like,
and to explore.
That's like very forcefully telling you, yes, you're done here.
Yeah,
I mean that's what every game is.
You can explore.
How do I know when I'm satisfied?
You might not be. I'm not saying the game is perfect.
Yeah,
I'm saying that the style of the game
Yeah.
is fantastic in that way.
I wanted that game to do it for me more than it did. I was very ready to love it, and
same here.
the more I talked about it, the more I was like, okay, there are things in here that I do admire, but like by the time at the moment when I finished it and I put the controller down, I just kind of shrugged. Like it didn't leave a meaningful impact on me.
Yeah, I mean, I will take this one with me. Like I don't think anybody else here.
Virginia presents, Res Infinite presents.
Yeah. I think this game does amazing things in a stylistic way that
I like their approach to
should be taken forward in game design.
Yeah.
I do think the kind of absurdist stuff or the kind of
Surrealist.
yeah, that stuff gets a little
little out of control with that.
derails
Yeah, it
things
does.
too much. But I think the presentation of that game is fantastic.
I don't necessarily like the look. I do like the sound cues and stuff, but it didn't hit as hard with me for whatever reason. So I'm like walking down a hallway and it's like, wow, I'm slowly prodding along here, and then all of a sudden it jump cuts to the car. It's like, why couldn't you do that sooner? Like 20 seconds ago when I was walking down the dumb hallway. I don't know.
It should have been an animated movie. And I mean,
perhaps,
I don't agree
think
with that.
it's the only time I feel like I actually felt that way about those kinds of games. Like it really felt to me like the interactivity in it was extremely second to the presentation.
I didn't feel that way.
Like poking around in that game did not feel worthwhile.
I thought there was an economy of it. Like the things that you could explore were useful. I mean, yeah, it is definitely not the most interactive game.
I think it was an economy in recession.
I mean, we have some other games on here that have some poking around that don't go anywhere either. Like Firewatch is a game where you walk around and can't interact with half the things you should be able to interact with.
I also
you could pick them up and look at models, but like you can't do anything with them.
But you know what? I got more out of the story in that game, and I got more out of the characters, and I felt like it just felt like a much more interactive experience than Virginia, which to me was very much like you are on rails pretty much. Like you can walk around, but there is a rail system that is guiding everything you are doing, and there's very little wiggle room within it.
That is the game, though.
I know, and I'm saying I didn't like that.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, we can cut it. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and defend it. There's other stuff on here.
I know what you're going for. Yeah, it didn't have the punch for me, I guess.
There are games that are timed to music. It is almost like a res style thing where like, can you turn around and go backwards in res?
Right.
Like no,
but
that's not.
At the same time, the gameplay in Res is set to the beat, but not to the individual measures of the music in a lot of cases.
So these scenes are scored to the and it actually triggers audio to build when you're at certain points. I just think
that's really impressive.
It's very impressive, and like that to me is the main style we have. But yeah, let's take it off.
Okay.
If we had to cut one between Watch Dogs and Mafia 3, which should we cut? They're both open world games, realistic style, but with their own style on top of that presentation. Which do we think has the better style?
It's weird because I think Watch Dogs 2 is a better overall game in terms of what it delivers, but I think I like the style of Mafia 3 a little better.
Thing is, I don't know that it necessarily has to be. I don't think that's the decision we need to make. But do you think this many games on the list?
I mean, if I'm being real, I think both those games will eventually go.
You might actually be right.
I'm just saying to whittle it down. I mean, because I don't see both of them making it in the top three.
If both you and I think both those games are going to go, then we should probably cut those games.
Yeah, let's just get it out of the way. Like I've said my piece for both of those. I think they are both very strong stylistic entries, but there are at least 3 or 4 games on here I feel much more intense about.
So should we take that whole block out? Watch Dogs 2, Virginia Mafia 3?
Ooh,
yeah, I think so.
That's a strong
Is anybody else going to feel strongly about Overwatch?
Not for this.
I love
it's
the
really
style.
good.
Great, let's keep
I think
it.
it's super strong.
Tomorrow Children should probably go.
That's a really
I'm surprised
cool
it made it this
look,
long.
It's got a cool look that I think is too clunky and busted to make good on its look. If anything, its style works against it because you're like, man, this should be better.
Yeah, well, at that point, you're just talking about the quality of the game.
But I think
look of it
even the execution of the style, I think could be more cohesive across the board and stuff. Like there's some neat stuff in there that
all right,
but not enough.
I'll take that off.
I'm torn on Bound.
Yeah, I am too.
It is so good at what it's trying to do.
Awesome.
It looks so good. The way the character moves, it's nails it.
It's a gorgeous game, but I don't know if that quite translates to style.
I mean, it's stylish as shit. I
Yeah,
guess.
I
guess so.
think it's like the dance movement in that game
Yeah.
is
Sure.
pure
like breaking
style.
through all the
Character-
beads and all that
Yeah.
stuff. Like, it
character
looks
animation
fucking cool.
is pretty great in that game.
I really like. I've been not bringing that up because I think it should probably be one of our final three.
Jeez.
It's at least top 5 for me. I'm not ready to let go of that one. I would sooner get rid of. Well, I would certainly sooner get rid of Overwatch.
I could be okay with that.
It sounded to me like the argument for Tokyo Mirage was anime.
It is. It's really well done, and they I don't know. Like I said, for being as batshit a concept as that game is, like they really deliver on it. And not just obviously in the gameplay or whatever, but like just the visual thing feels very cohesive, very coherent for
A
what
little
they're
like
doing.
like a Persona 4, like all the menus and everything. And
Yeah, somewhat. It's it's a lot more fantastical even than that stuff, but it's it's still grounded in like a version of Tokyo that has some recognizable elements to it. And I like even just like little things like walking around the world, like all the people who are not even like interactive NPCs are just these little
Silhouettes.
There's silhouettes that are all colored different neon colors, and just little touches like that I think are really rad. But I no one else here I think has played much of that game, so if there isn't a lot of enthusiasm
I
elsewhere,
don't know anything about it.
I think it's okay to let it go. I wanted to make a defense for it.
cool.
Can we lock in Doom just because of the time he cocks the gun to the music?
So like as the coda to the fucking intro song.
I think just that alone is
Dude,
like, all
I
right.
am pretty
all
with
right.
When does that happen?
like right
At the
when you
very
start the
beginning,
game.
right before it says Doom, you're going up in the elevator, and Doctor whatever is like, "Oh, I think we can work together." And
Yes.
And he just fucking punches the radio that's talking to
Like,
him.
See, I remember that, but I don't
And it
remember
cuts-
any.
the
it just-
elevator
it cuts
doors
to
open up as the music is like building up,
Well,
and you see hell.
So he punches the radio when the guy is trying to say
Yeah.
stuff to him, and it cuts to like a 5 or 10 second motion graphic where it plays like part of the intro song. And then
Okay.
when it cuts back to you getting to the top of the elevator, like he cocks the shotgun on the final beat of the song.
Yeah,
I mean,
and then the doors
and you're,
open,
and you're
and
right
it's
back
hell.
in the game. You're
Yeah.
right back in the fucking
It's
game.
fucking awesome.
I remember loving the intro to that game.
Yes.
And I feel like that might be a best moment or sequence kind of thing.
Oh, but so much of it.
Can I just make the devil's advocate for why maybe Doom wouldn't be on here?
Why?
No.
They have taken the Doom aesthetic, which has existed for many, many years, and they just made it a lot bigger.
I don't think they
I think
did.
the music
I-
adds a lot.
Yeah,
to this
I
one.
think it's
It
got
does.
different-
You're right.
I feel like everything about the attitude of that game is
Yes.
actually different than the original.
It is
the glory
Doom.
kills.
Well, it's
all
such
that
a
stuff.
it's such a smart spin on what the old attitude of Doom was. Like they didn't make a corny,
Yeah.
shitty rehash of '90s Doom. Like they made a fucking whip smart 2016 remake of what Doom should be.
Right.
An impossible
Yeah,
task.
yes, yes, like
That,
a task that I completely expected them to fail at.
Yeah.
Like, they knocked it out of the
And
park.
like all the weapons felt great, or like
Yeah.
most of them, I can't remember anything bad. The punching felt great. I looked forward to interactions in that
There's
game.
not only are the glory kills like incredibly varied and like super awesome to watch, but you can get that rune that makes them go so fast you could barely see what's happening.
Like even some of the platforming felt good. Like,
Yeah.
in a
Well, that's
Doom
not really
game.
a style thing.
No, but it was because it was like so. Everything was so fucking aggressive.
I would say
everything.
when stuff like the platforming affects the way the game looks as and how you move around in it and like just what the flow of it is, that is a style thing.
and things like the original theme playing when you find one of the dolls and you fist bump
you
it.
fucking fist bump that little Doom guy.
Yeah, that game.
It's that really
Or when you get the
I don't
upgrades
know that
from the
I like
robots and then you like punch them. You punch
right.
the upgrade robots.
Yes,
It gives you an upgrade.
Punch
Fuck
your
you.
fucking upgrade robots.
I mean, look, I would much rather have Doom on here than Overwatch.
Wake
Yes,
up,
or
you
yes.
wake up on a
Simulator.
slab. You go find the Doom guy suit, and it's surrounded by candles.
Again, like the best moment or sequence.
But that's
like,
There's a billion just
we
in
have
the
just
intro.
described like 8 best
when you throw the
moments or
monitor
sequences.
against the
It
wall, like,
persists.
fuck this.
Yeah, it never stops
Yeah,
until
okay.
until the fucking boss fight at
Yeah.
the end of
You're
the
in a
game.
sarcophagus.
It never stops.
All right.
It never stops topping itself.
Okay. I gotta say, like I don't think about Doom as a style game, but
It's got
the
so much
thing I
style.
would say about like the glory kill stuff is that I equipped that rune because I wanted them to be over sooner.
I still
At
thought
some
it
point
looked
it was
amazing.
like I was getting them. I was doing glory kills because I needed the health.
Oh, they're so fast anyway. Even before you get that
Yeah.
rune, like they don't waste your time.
no, they don't.
Yeah.
Doesn't he crush that first Argent thing in his hand too?
Yes.
And
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The guy, like your robot handler guy, is telling you over the radio, is like, we need to activate this thing so we can send the demons back to hell, and you just fucking destroy it instead.
But no, wait, that's a different part. Though, when he's like, this is really powerful. I don't know if he'd be able
No
to.
human could ever withstand
Oh
this.
yeah.
I mean,
Crush it
that
like
could-
a
There's the biblical mythology shit in the middle of it where they refer to the Doomslayer like you're some avenging angel.
Yeah, all those little like codex entries and stuff are just awesome.
They're all so good.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I think we should cut Devil Daggers because I don't think it
Man.
looks that cool. I
I
like
like
its
it.
style, but when I look at like each individual enemy, I don't know that I actually like the look of it that
think
much.
It looks like a metal. That whole game is metal as fuck, and,
Yeah.
I love that.
No.
The other thing I like about it is that it looks like Quake 1 or a PlayStation 1 game. Like
Yeah,
it's got
yeah.
that. It's
Yeah.
got that.
Yep.
Like where some of these other like shitty demake type games are like very like ham-fistedly trying to capture like the PlayStation 1 look.
Yeah.
Like they do it really effectively and without looking like it's over the top.
Sound design's great too.
But if I'm only going to get Doom or Devil Daggers, I guess
It's Doom.
I mean, I feel much more strongly about Doom than I do Devil Daggers.
Yeah. Daggers is
I feel
great.
like
but
Devil Daggers, like part of what wore thin in that game for me, I think was the look.
it really doesn't change. Like
yeah.
you get overwhelmed with all those big
Yeah.
enemies and stuff, but you're just on that disc. Everything's dark. You know,
like
it's-
that's a great style thing,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
you know, like I think it wore out its welcome pretty. Like again, it was a weekend. It was maybe a weekend and a half.
I
or
mean,
something.
you're replaying the same like 90 seconds
Yep.
over and over.
Yeah,
I mean,
yep.
I can see that.
when the amount of different things in the first 90 seconds of Doom just eclipses anything.
Yeah.
in that.
Yeah,
I think it's time for Devil Daggers to go.
fine.
This is gonna be a tough list.
I think we cut
is
Job
this
Simulator.
Is this Doom bound and super hot?
No, not.
I could see that.
Here's
What's the deal with Darkest Dungeon? Is anyone really going to bat for that?
I mean, it looks
Yes.
awesome.
It's
Okay.
not
The
just the
art-
look. It's the sound. It's the horrifying thrum that just sort of exists underneath every level.
It's got really good sound.
The dread that they are able to instill through gameplay, through visual design, through audio is second to none. It's that fucking announcer who sounds like he got a Lovecraftian word-a-day calendar like in every line. Like it's the way all those different elements come together. It's a cartoonish looking game that feels like it captures Lovecraft better than anything I've
They completely doubled
Yeah.
down on the
Yes.
Yeah.
Lovecraft.
Yeah,
and,
you're right.
and
Like-
I think nailed that.
And the thing that caught my eye, like when I saw it from like 20 feet away at a PAX the first time I saw it.
Yeah.
And the thing that caught my eye was like
I still remember that moment.
the way
like,
the battles play out and
oh.
how it like the camera like zooms and twists in
Yes.
as like you're hitting things and like as attacks are happening. Like the camera's just constantly moving in this like 2D game without much animation in it, but it's
Yes.
so like active and like there's so much
yeah,
movement.
it's got a great atmosphere.
they're
to
able
the
to
game.
convey so much with a fairly limited set of
That's my
tools.
only complaint is like it does seem like the enemy designs didn't seem like there's that much variety in
Well,
it.
there isn't a ton of variety, but like they're all gross as shit. Like everything in that, it completely feels as horrifying as that announcer is telling you they
Sure.
are. Like, and that's hard to convey in a cartoonish style.
But it's a long game for not
yeah.
that many.
That-
I mean,
that-
they
that's
do
gameplay,
they do
though.
Yeah.
reskins, right? Of
Yeah,
some of the
them, yeah, but
change
that's
some color palettes and whatnot.
But yeah, for the most part, it's just like if you're in a certain environment, you're going to get a certain set of enemies that will most likely appear.
Right.
But I think the way they pull all that stuff out is brilliant.
All right, let's talk cuts here. From the strength of these arguments here, it sounds like Job Simulator's not going to make
No,
it. It
I don't
sounds
think so.
like Hyper Light Drifter's not going to make it.
Yeah.
I really love there's a lot of love that went into the visual design of Hyper Light Drifter, and I really like it a lot.
But again,
that's the
that
one
could
that I think I enjoyed the most.
that could
this
come
year.
up for best looking though. 'Cause
Yeah.
that's more of an argument.
Okay,
for
I'm
me.
gonna cut Job Simulator. Are we okay to cut Hyper Light Drifter?
I think I'm okay with it.
Oh fuck. Yeah.
I feel bad.
feels-
but
yeah,
yes.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
It's got a cool feel to it. You feel
Yeah.
cool playing that game.
It is so cool. Oh,
And if you got to give me the difference between Darkest Dungeon and Thumper, I think Thumper is cool as hell. I love the style of it, but
Yeah,
I know
same
that
here.
the support is not there for as much, so I would rather go to bat for Darkest Dungeon in this category.
I would take Thumper over Darkest Dungeon.
Yeah,
I would
me
take
too.
Darkest Dungeon over Thumper.
I'm just saying where I lean. I
right.
think both should be on the top three. Honestly,
Start hitting each other in the face until somebody gives up.
Know.
Cut both.
Yeah, it's
Is Super Hot a lock? Is anybody gonna?
I really think
I don't.
it
I don't.
is.
I don't think Jeff is
really
going to back
think
down
it
on
is.
that.
I will
It
not
has a
back
lot
down
of
on
stuff.
that.
You don't?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it belongs.
Okay.
I think we're talking that Doom and a third
Yep.
at this
see
point.
that.
Yeah,
I
that,
actually-
I could get behind that.
God, I know Doom is super cool.
Don't you fucking dare
I just don't know.
If a game
I
has
will- I
fucking
will
swagger.
come across this table and
Yes,
glory
here.
kill you.
There's like
That seems a bit much.
like it's like for a first person shooter.
Yes.
That game just
Well, I
nails
think
it.
I think out of
should've-
all this, Overwatch has to go.
It should have been so generic, and it's
Yeah.
so not.
Yeah.
I would vote for Inside Going.
I can see
think
Inside
both
going.
Inside and Overwatch go.
I think Inside might be more of the best looking than a best style.
Yeah,
That's fine.
let's take out
Yeah.
I'm
Inside.
fine with that.
Yeah.
Hey, Inside's got a great style too.
Yeah.
Straight
Visually
up.
striking.
Someone might say top 6 style.
Yeah.
7 if we count a Res Infinite,
Yeah.
perhaps.
And let's take Overwatch off there.
I guess, yeah.
It'll get its props elsewhere.
It's just such a
It's so well done.
It's
well
Blizzard doing.
designed.
Is Blizzard doing what they do?
Yeah. Well, no.
They're good at taking.
I mean, it doesn't look like any other Blizzard game.
These are the best Blizzard characters I think I've seen.
So.
You do?
Yeah.
Oh,
No, I
like,
think-
if you
I mean,
look
it's
at,
got
like,
the
Heroes
polish of
of
it.
the Storm and stuff like yeah, it looks like a Blizzard game.
Blizzard character
takes-
designs. Like
Yeah.
Blizzard?
Yes, they take familiar tropes, they polish them to the utmost shine, and they drop them into whatever design that they've spent years building around. And I think it is cohesive, it all works, but I don't think it's top 3.
Yeah, it's maybe not the most original.
No,
I say we cut Thumper and Darkest Dungeon here. I've seen both of those, and like Darkest Dungeon looked boring to me, and Thumper, like I think we've talked about the arguments there. Super Hot seems like a lock, Doom seems like a lock, and Bound really kind of nails it.
I'm still trying to figure out if Bound actually has style or not.
I think it definitely does.
There's nothing looks like Bound.
Yeah.
it is
That's
very
true.
much its own thing.
That's true.
And it fits with just like the way you move, with the way that
Yeah.
character is and everything. The whole world just kind of dances around her. Like it's a unique
Like the
thing.
whole game pivots on that style.
I didn't play Bound. I watched you play it. It didn't strike me like didn't resonate with me or become memorable. But it might be because I didn't play it.
I wouldn't say that I think it's like some amazing video
Yeah,
game.
the
and
gameplay is-
gameplay,
it's pretty
but-
simple.
Yeah.
It's solid, but it's not remarkable.
Right.
Well, like even the way it looked, like it's all like those little triangles, right? Like that
Not
come
really.
together
Like the
and-
ground is all those like crazy columns going
It
up and down, and
pulsates and-
waves,
and-
Yeah, the world like has a weird animated quality to
bead
it. Like,
curtains
it
and
moves,
stuff.
In that way, it
moves
reminded
a
me of
lot.
Bastion a little bit.
A little bit, yeah.
Okay.
It has that same sort of dreamlike quality to it. For me, the 3 here are Super Hot, Darkest Dungeon, and Bound. And I know that I'm going to lose that argument with Doom. That's fine. I'm just saying my piece here. I
Wait.
think Thumper can go.
Okay, so we take Thumper off.
Yeah, I hate it, but I'm willing to make that cut.
I would fight for Thumper over Darkest Dungeon or Bound.
I say we cut Dungeon out of these.
I might be the only
I'm not
one
ready
in that
to.
camp.
I think
God damn it.
man, I don't know.
This is hard.
Yeah. I like Super Hot, Darkest, and Doom.
This is an incredible 4.
You've made a strong case for Darkest Dungeon that I feel okay with, but yeah, it's hard because like when we came into these discussions, Bound was definitely the game I was thinking of the
Yeah.
most for this category.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing about Darkest Dungeon is, and I realize that it may not resonate with everyone, is that it's the opposite of cool. Like everything in that game is miserable, but the way
Yeah.
they paint that misery is unbelievable.
Yeah, no, yes,
Yeah, I like
Darkest Dungeon is
looking.
miserable.
Yeah,
I like looking at Bound a whole lot more, but Darkest Dungeon's more affecting.
yes,
I think.
Yeah.
like it shouldn't be horrifying based on what they present, but it really is.
It does really hit you.
I can be okay losing Bound
I think I could
if that's how we want to do this.
I could go either way on. I could go with
So
either one of those.
Doom
I think.
and Super Hot are
I mean, I'm not. I wouldn't call myself 100% sold on Doom either.
I am.
Yeah, I am.
Maybe
but-
go
but-
either way with that.
but Doom
Super
is-
Hot's a runaway for sure.
yeah, I think Super Hot wins this.
I love Doom style. Like
Yeah.
that's a game that
I mean, talk about swagger.
Fucking
I just don't
oozes
know how they
attitude.
did it. Like I'm still trying to unravel
every
like how
moment.
Well, and
how
like,
it,
and
how they did it
how,
without it
how
coming so
stereotypical
corny.
is
Yeah.
that stuff?
What's that?
Like, how stereotypical is all that
Right.
like metal and
Yeah.
Satan and stuff?
So-
but they like infuse some kind of personality into it that wasn't there before.
Yes,
For
it
us
is
to even care.
It is
Yeah.
100% that.
Yeah.
Like everything about it, by the numbers, if you list it out on paper, especially knowing what that game was before it got rebooted
Yeah.
and they were making fucking Call of Demons or whatever, and it's like thinking that the same people then turned around and made this instead. Like none of it should work the way that it does, but it's like fucking brilliant.
Bound is just so beautiful. Like
is.
it just has a beautiful quality to it that I'm reluctant to let go of.
Do you think it beats out Darkest Dungeon?
Beauty or evil, Alex?
I think you. It's like you basically have to pick that because you're arguing for both of those.
This is really me tearing apart the two sides of myself here.
Yeah.
Rip and tear, Alex.
God, this choice sucks.
I brought you taffy today.
I mean, Darkest Dungeon is the game I enjoyed playing more, but Bound really struck me in a way that I did not expect. And I think maybe for my part, I am a little more likely to want to reward the beauty versus the misery. Hey, I'm not happy about this at all.
Think about it. What better way to ensure the misery is that much more miserable than to cut it from this category right now?
yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
this felt to me like the most lock when we were going in. The way
Yeah.
you felt about Bound was the way I felt about Darkest Dungeon. And man, fuck.
I don't know. I've seen Bound
This
in Motion.
sucks.
It is visually appealing to me. I don't think it's nailed its look better than Darkest Dungeon did.
I saw Darkest Dungeon, and that nothing about that game did anything for me.
I don't care.
Is it really on me to make this call?
I think so, because I could kind of go either way on it at this point.
Yeah.
Like your Darkest Dungeon argument is powerful enough to where I just kind of have to leave it to you at this point.
I will take that candy away.
I already ate it.
Let the light win, Alex.
He'll take it back the hard way.
This sucks. I'm
The fight stuff in Darkest Dungeon's cool when they pop up forward.
Yeah.
They show them fighting, right? Like when the characters come up.
Like
zoom
just
in.
how it transitions into a battle, you mean?
No,
Or
no,
what do
no.
you-
Like when they attack each other, don't they come up? Like don't they magnify or something?
Yeah,
they
they like
do.
the two characters in question
Yeah.
like move to the center, and the camera sort of like zooms in at a crooked angle, and it looks awesome.
I thought that
Very
just some
comic
of the
booky.
character art and stuff was a little
Yeah, they look
corny.
weird.
It didn't really do it for me. I don't know.
It's
Maybe
okay. It's not amazing. Like again, like if it was
Yeah.
just a bunch of static shots of all that stuff happening,
Right.
I don't think it would even be in conversation.
I actually think that kind of clashed, like the design of the characters with the mood of the game.
think so.
Yeah, 'cause it's kind of cartoony.
I guess
and,
yes, I can see. I could see.
I feel like that's part of it. Like, I feel
Yeah,
like that's
maybe.
that's
If it
The
was
fact
too
that they- that
realistic, I
that
think
seems
it
very
would've been too
deliberate. Yeah,
much.
that seems very deliberate.
And I
Like,
say again, the fact they convey that mood with
Yeah.
that cartoony style is what's so impressive.
if
to
it was
me.
realistic, I don't think any part of the game would stand out because it would just
Yeah,
be
that's
like, all
probably
right,
true.
well, here's
Maybe.
some super real models murdering each other, I guess.
It's Darkest Dungeon. I'm sorry, it is. I love Bound. That style is rad. Everything about it, I think, is really cool. But I came into this with Darkest Dungeon, and I'm not ready to let it go.
All right.
Genji's got ninja stars in his arm.
Who?
I've heard
Yeah.
that.
Zenyatta floats and throws daggers
What
at
is
people.
that?
Who's that?
Mecha Dawson.
May can be a fireman.
I'm sorry, Bound. I'm really sorry.
Noted.
I think Super Hot is fucking amazing.
Yeah.
It's fucking so
the
fucking
epitome
good.
of style.
Yeah.
Some might say.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it
Wait,
wouldn't
even you?
I mean, I like Super Hot, and like that is a stylish ass game from
All
the
right.
very first trailer.
Okay.
Like,
Okay.
yeah, 100%.
Brad, I'm almost with you.
The things they do with that game when they do like that game goes places you never could have even anticipated from that initial trailer. Also with the stuff they do with like terminal window text stuff to chats that you have to typing super hot and hitting the buttons and making it chant super hot until you get back in the fucking game world and like all
Photograph sounds.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
Am I alone here?
Everything about super hot is perfect.
Brad, I love Doom.
Me too.
Except for the part where at some point it ended.
And Doom was still going for another 10 hours.
Like if like Doom would be better if it borrowed some of the Super Hot stuff.
Like what though?
Like the whole mechanic of being able to freeze time.
oh, then it
put-
wouldn't be Doom. That's,
Yeah,
a,
it's not
different,
the
that's a
same.
It
different
would
game.
be super hot,
Nah.
and it might
Doom
be
guy
even
takes
better.
off a
Now
VR
you're
helmet
talking.
at the end.
I love everything that Doom has going for it, but Super Hot Man has the most style. it just is.
I'm willing to go with it. I'm totally down
All right,
for
I
Superhot to win
I
this.
don't know that I'm going to win this fight even as wrong as you all are.
I've like, yeah, okay. I'm like holding, no, I'm not going to spoil some stuff that happens in Super Hot. I don't think we need
He
to.
does cock
It's
that
not
gun.
important, I think, for
Okay.
this discussion.
All right, I give.
Brad, he does cock that gun to the music.
That's a moment. We'll get to that moment.
Like when you smash the guys in Super Hot, like with their own gun, and like the whole
That
thing is
feels
just
great.
the whole thing is great.
It's a total package kind of thing.
It's so good.
Blow up the top half of the mancubus, and his head is waving back and forth on
Yeah.
his spine like a flagpole.
Doom is very good.
So weirdly enough, I totally thought that was where it went over the line. and
No,
was
it was
corny.
great.
That
That
was
was
great.
so good.
Like, that was just like
incredible.
this like weirdly gratuitous
Oh.
thing.
It's
Doom.
my
It's
kind of corny
Doom.
in a dumb way. I was
It's
like,
I was into that
yeah.
level of corny.
Oh man!
You got that thing with its own tooth.
All right,
It's super hot,
Well,
baby.
Yeah.
Super Hot
the right choice.
takes the best style category, even though Doom is your most stylish game of 2016.
it's not most style, it's best
Yeah.
style. If it was style with one Y, maybe Doom would have a better chance.
Right.
Is that a separate category?
Yeah.
Next year?
This is a grave injustice. All right, I guess that brings us to the end of day one of Game of the Year Deliberations 2016.
I think I'm gonna go play Super Hot.
It's not a bad idea.
I should probably admit here, and I feel shitty about it, I have not played Super Hot yet.
Oh.
Like, I never got around to it.
The stuff that happens
You
in
might
that
feel
game,
very differently.
you should fucking play Super
part of the
Hot.
reason.
That's an afternoon, man, and it's a hell of an afternoon.
It's a few hours.
That's part of the reason that I wasn't fighting harder here is that, I mean, I've seen it played. I've certainly
Yeah.
seen plenty of Super Hot.
No,
But
that's the
you
thing.
haven't
No, I know.
seen
I know. I haven't
Yeah.
seen like whatever the thing is, but I've seen enough to know generally what that thing is.
You can't stop playing Super Hot.
No one can.
and
I'm
if it's-
still playing it.
If it's really that short, I guess I should try to play some of it.
Yeah, you should.
All right.
Okay. I'm going to recap these categories and then we're going to stop this podcast for the day.
Okay.
Day one concludes with 2016's old game of the year, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, Super Mario Maker, and Quake Alive runners up. Best debut is Overwatch, with Super Hot and The Witness close behind. The hottest mess is what I believe Alex dubbed the unmaking of Palmer Luckey, with the fiascos around No Man's Sky and Street Fighter V. Finishing close behind. And and Res Infinite presents Best Style goes to Super Hot with Darkest Dungeon and Doom runners up. So yeah, that's it for day one.
Yeah,
I think that was
eventful.
about twice as long as we expected it to be.
Hey,
It's a lot of style this
we
year.
got there.
Yeah, it's true. Those were some stacked categories for sure. We got a whole lot more categories to come throughout the week. So tune in every day till Friday to hear a bunch more awards, deliberations, and stuff.
Yeah, we got some
Videos-
videos up on the site.
Videos on the site.
Lists,
of us hanging out, doing things. We got guest lists. And,
many
Yeah.
this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, Game of the Year is on. So yeah, we'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for listening.